Chapter 1843. Chapter 1843, Fighting Qiu Yue. Chapter 1843. Chapter 1843, Fighting Qiu Yue Yin and Yang. Qiu Yue shouted. At this moment, the cold qi in her body suddenly converged on one side of her body, while the other side of her body emitted a hot qi. At the same time, a fiery red scimitar flew out, and the terrifying heat wave burned and distorted the space. Buzz, buzz. One of the two scimitars was emitting a cold air while the other was emitting a hot air. They slashed toward Lu Ming at the same time. The cold and the hot collided with each other, producing a terrifying energy that blasted toward Lu Ming. This energy was very terrifying. It had the power to destroy, and even Lu Ming felt a sense of danger. Chaos finger. Lu Ming pointed his finger and struck the energy. A crackling sound was heard and the two scimitars were knocked back by Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming felt his fingers go numb. Waves of destructive energy were about to annihilate him. If not for the fact that Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the great sage mastery, he might not have been a match for them. A superior grade heavenly spiritual body and one of the king path laws, the law of yin and yang. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Qiu Yue was worthy of being chosen by the only divine temple. She had brought the only divine temple from the divine wilderness. Her talent and potential were shocking. Not only did she control the laws of the king path, her spiritual body was also a high-tier heaven spiritual body. Her cultivation had already reached the great perfection of the great saint realm. This level of combat strength was even stronger than Ouyang Wushuang, Ouyang Wudao, and the others. Ouyang Wushuang, Long Qin, and Huang Ling also had such talent, but their cultivation was not at the great saint perfection. Yin-yang convergence, die. Qiu Yue shouted. Two streams of air burst out from her body. One was hot and one was cold, one was yin and one was yang. They collided with each other and formed a terrifying destructive force. Qiu Yue, am Lu Ming. Am your young master. You said that you'll serve me for the rest of my life. Have you forgotten? Lu Ming's shout was like thunder in spring, ringing in Qiu Yue's ears. Qiu Yue frowned and shouted, shameless brat, are you trying to lie to me again? Can't you change to something new? Go. The two scimitars spun rapidly like a storm and came for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella glowed and the Tai Chi formation disc appeared. A Tai Chi yin-yang fish pattern was formed and it suppressed Qiu Yue. Boom. Boom. The Tai Chi pattern collided with the two scimitars, producing a dull boom. At the same time, Lu Ming's punches were like the wind, dispersing the terrifying destructive airflow. While Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were clashing, Ouyang Wushuang had also encountered a strong enemy. Ouyang Wudao charged toward Ouyang Wushuang, and the two of them were locked in a fierce battle. Ouyang Wushuang had mastered the king path law and was more talented. However, Ouyang Wudao's cultivation was stronger. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. However, the talents of the Daluo Heaven sect rushed toward the mountain. Bubble, go and snatch that flag. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Leave it to me, chirp chirp. The bubble flew off from Lu Ming's shoulder. Its petite figure flickered and it flew towards the mountain at top speed. The array was almost useless against the bubble. After a while, Bubbles had almost caught up with the talents of the Daluo Heaven sect. How is that possible? Is that the law of time and space? Go stop her. The elites of the Daluo Heaven sect exclaimed. Then, 2 or 3 of them rushed toward the bubble and attacked it with all kinds of attacks. Chirping, in a flash, Pow Pow's figure rippled through the air. By the time the attacks landed, she had already disappeared. In the next moment, she had passed by the few of them and was charging towards the mountain. Not good. The space-time laws are too strange. I can't attack her at all. Someone shouted anxiously. All of you attack. Use the laws to block the void and stop her. Bai Mu shouted and suddenly changed his direction. A terrifying power of law bloomed and covered the sky, locking the void with the power of law. The other paragons attacked at the same time. All sorts of nomological laws were like chains that locked down the void. Peopeo's figure flickered continuously. However, with the void being sealed, she was unable to rush over. I'm switching sides, Bubbles' tender voice was heard. She moved her body and wanted to charge in another direction. However, there were too many of them. There were more than a dozen heaven's favorites and most of them were great saints in the great perfection realm. With more than a dozen of them joining forces, the laws were confined in all directions and they completely blocked Bubbles' escape route. Let's join hands and take her down. Bai Mu gave the order, and the power of law burst forth. More than a dozen people joined forces in an attempt to take down Bubbles. Bubbles' figure flickered unsteadily, and the space around her flickered. It would not be easy for the other party to take her down. For a time the two sides were in a stalemate. The battle between Lu Ming and Qiu Yue was getting more and more intense. Qiu Yue, have you forgotten about Li Ping and Lu Yuntian? Have you forgotten about the Lu family? Lu Ming shouted as he attacked, hoping to awaken Qiu Yue's memory. Shut up. Qiu Yue shouted as her brows furrowed. The laws of yin and yang represented the foundation of the world. Even among the laws of King Dao, it was extremely terrifying. The cold current collided with the scorching heat, producing a terrifying energy that surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw 3 consecutive punches and blocked Qiu Yue's attack. Qiu Yue, have you forgotten about the mystical sword sect? Have you forgotten about the Burning Sun Empire? Qiu Yue, have you forgotten about Yuehuan Mountain and Emerald Lake? Lu Ming kept shouting, telling Qiu Yue some of the things that she was most familiar with and experienced the most. Qiu Yue's eyes kept changing as if she was trying to grasp something. But he couldn't catch it. Nonsense. I'll kill you. Die. Qiu Yue shouted and 2 curved daggers slashed at Lu Ming. If you want to kill me, then I'll let you kill me. At this moment, Lu Ming put away the Tai Chi formation disc and the chaos laws. He let the 2 curved daggers slash at him. The 2 scimitars were about to hit Lu Ming, but he did not move. He looked at Qiu Yue with a gentle gaze, just like how he did in the past. At this moment, Qiu Yue's heart trembled. She subconsciously retracted her force. However, the speed of the 2 curved daggers was too fast. Although she had retracted most of her force, they did not stop and slashed Lu Ming's shoulder. Blood gushed out. The 2 scimitars sank deep into Lu Ming's shoulders and went straight through his bones. Blood stained Lu Ming's long robe. Qiu Yue was stunned. She looked at Lu Ming in a daze and said, Why didn't you dodge? Why should one hide? You and I have been together for more than 10 years. If you want to kill me, then one will let you kill me. One only hope that you can remember. Lu Ming said gently. Is everything you've said true? Qiu Yue's eyes were filled with confusion. Of course it's true. I'm Lu Ming, your young master. We've been together for more than 10 years. The jade pendant you're wearing was a gift from my mother. Do you still remember? Lu Ming said gently. Bus. The 2 scimitars flew from Lu Ming's shoulders and disappeared into Qiu Yue's body. Qiu Yue's gaze fell on the jade pendant around her neck. This was the jade pendant that she had always worn on her body. Chapter 1844, The One and Only Temple. Chapter 1844, The One and Only Temple. Lu Ming, young master, the Lu family, madam. Why can't I remember anything? What? Qiu Yue mumbled to herself. The confusion in her eyes grew stronger and stronger. Finally, her face revealed a pained expression. What? I'm going to ask my master. I'm going to ask my master. Qiu Yue suddenly shouted and flew up into the sky. She broke through the layers of formations and left the place in a flash. Junior sister, you should die. Yu Shu of the Soul Divine Temple shouted angrily. Qiu Yue, I will definitely find out what happened to you. Lu Ming's gaze was very cold. The wound on his shoulder was squirming rapidly and healing rapidly. Qiu Yue had absorbed most of the energy earlier, so his injuries were not serious. With the strength of Lu Ming's spirit body, he had basically recovered in a few breaths. Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the bubbles. He then took a step forward and dashed toward the bubbles like lightning. Runes appeared and attacks were launched at Lu Ming, but they were all broken by him. Get lost. 11 Lu Ming approached him and activated the chaotic finger of tribulation. He pointed a huge finger at the Daluo Heaven Sect's paragon with an amazing momentum. Several talents of the Daluo Heaven Sect joined forces to resist, but they were still not able to resist and were blown away by Lu Ming. With that, RHE encirclement was broken, and with a flash, Pow Pow charged out of the encirclement. Bubble, go and get the flag. Leave these people to me, Lu Ming said. All right. With a flash, Pow Pow charged towards the peak of the mountain. Stop him. Baimu shouted. Your opponent is me. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in front of them. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared one after another, suppressing the group of Daluo Heaven Sect's talents. Boom. Boom. Each of Lu Ming's attacks weighed hundreds of millions of caddies and had the power to suppress the heavens. The paragons of the Daluo Heaven Sect were sent flying one by one, blood spilling from their mouths. Kill. Baimu charged towards Lu Ming with shocking power. Baimu's spiritual body was a superior grade heavenly spiritual body, and his combat power was far above other heaven's favorites of the same level. For example, Wan Jingyang, Mo Lang, and the Golden Crow Second Prince, they would probably be easily crushed by Baimu. Before Lu Ming's breakthrough in cultivation, he might not have been able to defeat Bai Mu. However, a few days ago, Lu Ming had a breakthrough in his cultivation and his combat strength had increased greatly. After exchanging a few blows with Bai Mu's body trembled and he could not help but retreat 7 to 8 steps. The Son of Chaos is indeed astonishingly strong. Bai Mu's eyes were filled with shock. Again? Lu Ming's fists kept punching out, and pieces of illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared, suppressing the talents of the Daluo Heaven sect and blocking their way. Meanwhile, in a flash, Peopeo's figure was about to fly up to the peak of the mountain. No, Ouyang Wudao bellowed. His eyes were bloodshot, unable to accept this fact. Ouyang Wuji felt the same way. He was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He never thought that he and Ouyang Wudao couldn't stop Ouyang Wushuang even when they joined forces. They were extremely unwilling but they could not stop it. They could only watch as the bubble approached the flag quickly. Then Bubbles grabbed the flag with both hands and pulled it out. Ouyang Wudao and Ouyang Wuji's hearts sank as well. All right. Long Qin, Huang Ling, and the geniuses of the Purple Flame Villa were ecstatic. With the flag in hand, this round of competition was over. The crowd retreated and stopped the battle. Ouyang Wudao's gaze was extremely gloomy as he looked at Lu Ming and Bubbles. In the second and third round of the assessment, he had completely lost to Lu Ming and Pao Pao. If it were not for them, Ouyang Wushuang would not have been his match. He still did not know that the first round was actually Lu Ming's idea. Otherwise he would really be so angry that he would vomit blood. Bus. A few elders of the Xinyuan Empire appeared in the sky. The array in the area was hidden. The test is over. Combining the results of the 3 rounds, Ouyang Wushuang is the champion. He will be promoted to the Crown Prince in 3 days. An elder announced. Ouyang Wudao and Ouyang Wuji clenched their fists tightly and were filled with hatred. From now on, they were going to be trampled under Ouyang Wushuang's feet. Then everyone returned to their respective mansions. Ouyang Wushuang's mansion was naturally in a celebratory mood and a banquet was held for 3 days. 3 days later, the Xinyuan Empire held the Crown Prince's promotion ceremony. The Purple Flame Villa and the Only Divine Temple sent people to congratulate them, but the Daluo Heaven sect did not. After the ceremony, Ouyang Wushuang was officially crowned as the Crown Prince. Lu Ming and the rest had achieved their initial goal. However, Lu Ming had another goal now. He had to figure out what exactly had happened to Qiu Yue. How could he help Qiu Yue recover? Therefore, on the 7th day after Ouyang Wushuang became the Crown Prince, Lu Ming and Ouyang Wushuang went to the only sacred hall together. The only holy temple was an ancient palace. It was suspended in the sky and was surrounded by clouds. It was like a fairyland. There was a flight of stairs that extended down from the only holy temple, and there were at least tens of thousands of steps. Lu Ming and Ouyang Wushuang landed on the steps and stepped up. Soon they had reached tens of thousands of steps. However, they were blocked by 2 people at the top of the steps. Who are you? This is the only sacred hall, and you are not allowed to barge in. The 2 of them were the guards. One of them opened his mouth, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. Ouyang Wushuang and one have something to ask of Senior Ice Screen. Ouyang Wushuang cupped his fists. Bingmu was Qiu Yue's master. He was the one who had brought Qiu Yue from the divine wilderness. Ouyang Wushuang? So it's Crown Prince Xinyuan. I've been disrespectful. The 2 guards' expressions changed. If it was an ordinary prince of the Xinyuan Empire, they could ignore him. However, the Crown Prince was different. He would rule the Xinyuan Empire in the future and become a hegemon. His status was completely different from that of an ordinary prince. Please wait a moment, Crown Prince. They'll pass the message now. One of the guards said. Wait, we can't let them in. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Then a few figures walked out from the depths of the palace. Yu Shu. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. The person in the lead was Yu Shu. The others were all extraordinary geniuses. The 2 guards saluted Yu Shu and the others. It was obvious that Yu Shu's status in the only holy temple was not low. Oh, so it's Prince Wushuang. What are you doing here at our sole divine temple? Yu Shu asked with a faint smile on her face. Lu Ming and I are here to pay a visit to Senior Ice Screen. Ouyang Wushuang tried to be patient and repeated it. Meet the Ice Curtain Sect's Grand Supreme Elder? I advise you to go back. Do you think the Ice Curtain Sect's Grand Supreme Elder is someone you can meet whenever you want? Yu Shu said indifferently. You can go and pass on the message. Senior Ice Screen will decide whether to see or not. Lu Ming said. Pass on the message? Who do you think you are? I'm telling you, the Grand Supreme Elder of the Ice Curtain is in seclusion and won't see anyone. You can leave. Yu Shu's face darkened as she chided. If Senior Ice Screen is not free today, then one will come again tomorrow. If you are not free tomorrow, then I will come again the day after. One day Senior Ice Screen will be free. Lu Ming said. Chapter 1845. The Truth Behind Qiu Yue's Memory Loss. Chapter 1845. The Truth Behind Qiu Yue's Memory Loss. Lu Ming, why are you so thick-skinned? Don't think that I don't know what you're here for? You're trying to get close to junior sister Qiu Yue, but let me tell you, she's already taken, so don't bother her anymore. Yu Shu berated. Lu Ming frowned. He had already been patient and tried to talk to the other party nicely, but the other party was deliberately making things difficult for him. Bang. Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. His overwhelming aura pressed toward Yu Shu. Yu Shu's expression changed drastically and she shouted, "What are you trying to do? How dare you try to break into my only sacred hall? Men, kill this person." During the Xinyuan Empire's assessment, he had suffered at Lu Ming's hands time and time again. He had long harbored hatred in his heart. Now that there was an opportunity, he naturally had to seize it and kill Lu Ming. As Yu Shu's voice rang out, a few powerful auras burst out from the only sacred hall. A few figures flew through the air and flew over. Each figure was surrounded by a river of laws. They were all Emperor-to-be figures. Stop. At this moment, a voice rang in everyone's ears. It was filled with supreme authority. Yu Shu, the young men, and the Emperor-to-be all changed their expressions. They stopped and bowed to the depths of the sacred hall, saying, "Ice Screen Grand Elder. Bring Lu Ming in to see me." The voice rang out again. Yu Shu's expression changed slightly. It seemed that the Grand Elder of the Ice Curtain had found out about the situation. "Brat, you've gone far today." Yu Shu sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming coldly and then left. "Young Master Lu Ming, please follow me. The Grand Supreme Elder of the Ice Curtain wants to see you," one of the guards said. "Ouyang, you can go back first. There's no need to wait for me." Lu Ming told Ouyang Wushuang. "No rush, I can wait here." Ouyang Wushuang smiled faintly. He was afraid that something would happen to Lu Ming after he entered. With him, the Crown Prince of the Xinyuan Empire, around, the other party would have some reservations. Lu Ming did not say much. He and the gatekeeper walked toward the depths of the only holy temple. The only sacred hall was surrounded by many halls, and they couldn't see the end of it. They bypassed many halls and came to a small hall. "This is the residence of the Ice Curtain Sect's Grand Supreme Elder. You may enter." After the guard finished speaking, he turned and left. Lu Ming pushed the door open and entered. Behind the door was a small courtyard. A figure stood there with his hands behind his back and his back facing Lu Ming. Lu Ming closed the door and came behind the figure. He cupped his fists and said, "Junior Lu Ming greets Senior Ice Screen." The figure nodded and turned around. It was a beautiful middle-aged woman. "I heard that you said that you were Qiu Yue's young master during the Xinyuan Empire's examination. Is that true?" The middle-aged lady spoke. At the same time, a terrifying aura filled the air and locked onto Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming felt as if he was being stared at by an extremely terrifying existence. It was as if he would be turned into ashes with just a thought from the other party. Lu Ming's back was drenched in cold sweat. This was his Buddha's subconscious reaction. This beautiful middle-aged woman was definitely an extremely terrifying person. Her cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming felt that everything about him had been seen through. If he lied, he had no doubt that the other party would kill him immediately. "Senior, everything Junior has said is true. Junior comes from the Divine Wilderness Continent's Blazing Sun Empire's Lu family. Back then, when Senior took Qiu Yue away from the Divine Wilderness Continent, didn't you leave behind a sentence? In the Divine Wilderness, the only one in the world." Lu Ming replied in a humble manner. A hint of surprise flashed through Bing Yu's eyes, but his gaze became even colder. "LT, seems like you're right. So, you're here to take Qiu Yue away and make her your maid again? Senior, you've misunderstood. I've never treated Qiu Yue as a servant. I've grown up with Qiu Yue and I've always treated Qiu Yue as my family," Lu Ming replied. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, the aura on Ice Screen's body was retracted, and a hint of warmth appeared on her face. Lu Ming secretly heaved a long sigh of relief. The other party was too terrifying. That wisp of steam engine had put Lu Ming under terrifying pressure. The Ice Curtain sized Lu Ming up curiously. "One really never expected that you would be able to walk out of the Divine Wilderness and achieve such an achievement. She already knew that Lu Ming was taking the examination in the Xinyuan Empire. How could she not know that it was related to her disciple, Qiu Yue? Regarding this, she was really surprised. Lu Ming could actually walk out of the divine wilderness and come to the Yuan continent. Furthermore, he had such shocking achievements, suppressing many of the geniuses of the ancient Yang Holy Land. This was simply unbelievable. Back then, when she took Qiu Yue away, she left behind the 8 words in the divine wilderness, the only one in the world. She had just said it casually, but she did not expect that someone would really find her. Senior is too kind, Junior was just lucky. Lu Ming said humbly. What? I've never heard of anyone who can reach this stage by relying on luck. Alright, did you come to me this time to ask about Qiu Yue? Ice Screen said. That's right, Senior. Why did Qiu Yue completely forget about me? And when I mentioned what happened back then, she also completely forgot about it? What happened to Qiu Yue? Lu Ming asked a series of questions. Qiu Yue's memory was taken away. Ice Curtain sighed. What? His memories were taken away? Lu Ming was shocked. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Who was it? However, he could even take away memories. What kind of method was this? That's right. He's Luo Tsangqiong, the #1 genius of the Daluo Heaven sect. He has a king's body and controls the law of deprivation, one of the laws of the king path. He can deprive everything, even his memories. Ice Screen said. What? Why would they do that? Lu Ming's gaze turned colder. Because Luo Tsangqiong likes Qiu Yue and has been pursuing her. But Qiu Yue already has someone in her heart, and that person is you. She always believes that you will come to her, so why would she care about Luo Kangqiang's pursuit? So, in a fit of anger, Luo Tsangqiong took away all of Qiu Yue's memories from before. All of her memories regarding the divine wilderness continent were taken away, leaving only her memories of the Yuan continent. He wanted Qiu Yue to forget you and accept him. The ice curtain revealed the truth. Damn it. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly and a cold killing intent emanated from him. He did not expect that things would turn out like this. Qiu Yue's memory was actually taken away by someone else, and the reason was that Qiu Yue already had someone in her heart. It was simply laughable and simply deserving of death. Senior, as Qiu Yue's master, aren't you going to take revenge for her? Lu Ming looked straight at the ice screen, a faint trace of anger in his eyes. Of course one want to take revenge for Qiu Yue. One once went to the Daluo Heaven sect in anger, but I quit in the end. Do you know why? That's because Luo Kangqiang's grandfather was a great sovereign. It was only a legend before, but I saw it with my own eyes. Luo Tsangqiong relied on his grandfather's status as a great sovereign to act lawlessly, but no one dared to touch him. The ice curtain spoke, her voice filled with helplessness. 1846. Chapter 1846. Qiu Yue won as master's helplessness, great emperor. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Luo Kangqiang's grandfather was actually a great sovereign. In today's world, as long as the heavenly emperor didn't appear, the great emperor was at the peak. What kind of person was a great emperor? He controlled the great Tao, his small world could give birth to living beings, and his cultivation had reached an unbelievable level. No matter how strong a true emperor was, they would probably be killed by a great emperor with a single slap. There were only a few emperors in the entire Yuan mountain. Each one of them was a person who could shake the entire Yuan mountain with a stomp of their feet. Legend had it that the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy was founded by a few great emperors. It was because of this that the entire region was stirred up. All the geniuses of the Yuan Mountain region were gathering towards the Heavenly Emperor City, wanting to join the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. One could see how terrifying a great emperor was. And Luo Kangqiang's grandfather was actually a great sovereign. No wonder Lawless dared to take away Qiu Yue's memory. Lu Ming also remembered that Ouyang Wushuang had told him that Qiu Yue's master had attacked the Daluo Heaven sect for some unknown reason, but had retreated silently in the end. It was obviously because of Qiu Yue. I also want to avenge Qiu Yue, but if one do, the entire sacred hall will be buried with her. Bing Mu continued, his voice filled with helplessness. Luo Tsangqiong. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes, revealing a terrifying killing intent. Ice Curtain didn't dare to kill him, but he did. Qiu Yue, that girl is very attached to you. Before she lost her memory, she could not forget you. She hopes that you will come and find her, or that her cultivation will be successful and she will head to the divine wilderness to meet you. I heard that during the Xinyuan Empire's assessment, Qiu Yue was very emotional when she saw you. Perhaps, if she is with you for a long time, she might really recover her memories. How about you spend more time with Qiu Yue? Ice Screen said. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked him. No need to thank me. One also hoped that Qiu Yue can recover her memory. Her life will not be perfect if she loses a part of her memory. It will be difficult for her to reach the peak of her martial arts. Bing Mu sighed. The cultivation of martial arts was about having a clear mind. However, if a memory was missing in one's life, everyone would miss it and have a knot in their heart. How could one's mind be clear? It would be difficult to reach the peak in the end. Therefore, the Ice Curtain also hoped that Qiu Yue could regain her memory. For this period of time, you will live in the One Divine Palace. I will arrange a place for you to stay and spend more time with Qiu Yue. How about it? Ice Screen said. Thank you, Senior. One will do my best to help Qiu Yue regain her memories. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. Then Ice Curtain asked someone to bring Lu Ming to a courtyard. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Wushuang, telling him to return first and stay in the Soul Sanctuary for a period of time. Not long after, a figure stepped into the courtyard. Qiu Yue. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. Obviously, the Ice Curtain had also told Qiu Yue to stay in this courtyard so that the two of them could spend more time together, hoping that Qiu Yue would remember the past. But Qiu Yue waved her hand, and a snow-white scimitar appeared, emitting a bone-chilling cold. You really know me? What you told me back then, was it true? Qiu Yue said coldly. Of course it's true, every word is true. Lu Ming said. One hope it's true. If I find out in the future that everything you said was a lie and that you're only using this reason to get close to me, 111 definitely kill you. Qiu Yue said coldly. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. It seemed that Qiu Yue had thought that he was trying to get close to her on purpose. However, with Qiu Yue's looks and talent, it was normal for some people to find all kinds of reasons to get close to her. Don't worry. If you find out that I'm lying to you, just kill me. Just like last time, one won't fight back. Lu Ming said with a smile. Qiu Yue's cold aura finally dissipated and the ice scimitar disappeared. She glanced at Lu Ming's shoulder and said apologetically, Are your injuries okay? It's okay, it doesn't matter if you cut me a few more times. Lu Ming said with a smile. You're so glib-tongued, I don't think you're a good person either. Qiu Yue snorted. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. This girl's personality had changed a lot after she lost her memory. Qiu Yue, let me tell you about our past. Lu Ming said. Yes, go ahead. Qiu Yue nodded. The two of them sat down on the stone bench in the courtyard and Lu Ming began to talk about the past in detail. Qiu Yue frowned and seemed to be in deep thought. Every time he talked about something important, Qiu Yue would have some reaction. Her eyes would flash with a look of contemplation and confusion. In the days that followed, Lu Ming stayed in the only holy temple and spent time with Qiu Yue. They often talked about the past, from when Qiu Yue was young to after she was taken away. They talked about everything. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. This kind of interaction had some effect. Qiu Yue said that some images would flash in her mind, but it was difficult to capture. However, Lu Ming was already very happy. If this continued, Qiu Yue would remember the past sooner or later. In a palace, Yu Shu was discussing some matters with a few young men with a gloomy face. I don't know what the Grand Supreme Elder of the Ice Curtain is thinking. He actually allowed Lu Ming and junior sister Qiu Yue to live in the same courtyard and spend time with each other. How despicable. Yu Shu slammed the table and said hatefully. That kid Lu Ming said many times in the Xinyuan Empire that he knows junior sister Qiu Yue and that he's her young master or something. Could it be true? A young man said. It's possible. Junior sister Qiu Yue's heart used to belong to someone, so Luo Zhangqiong took away her memory. It was probably Lu Ming. That's why the Grand Supreme Elder of the Ice Screen let Lu Ming and Qiu Yue live together, hoping that Qiu Yue can regain her memory. The other young man speculated. No, we can't let this happen. I think it's better to let Luo Zhangqiong know about it. Yu Shu said, her eyes flashing with a cold light. Senior brother Yu, you're so smart. If Luo Zhangqiong knew about this, he would definitely kill Lu Ming. This plan of killing with a borrowed knife is really smart. A young man laughed. Hee. Yu Shu also laughed. Then they sent someone to pass the news to the Daluo Heaven sect. Time flew by and another 5 days passed. On this day, a group of people arrived at the only holy temple. The leader of the group was a young man with a cold expression. He was dressed in a purple robe, and his gaze was sharp like lightning. Behind the young man were a few elders, all of whom exuded powerful auras. When ordinary people arrived at the one and only sacred palace, they would have to land on the ground and climb up the stairs step by step to show respect to the one and only sacred palace. However, these people directly flew up, bypassing the stairs and flying towards the one and only sacred palace. Everyone, please wait. The two guards blocked the group's path. Get lost. I want to see Lu Ming. The young man in the lead shouted coldly in an overbearing manner. Everyone, this is the only sacred palace. Who are you? If you want to see anyone, one can pass the message on your behalf. One of the guards said. 1847. Chapter 1847. Chapter 1847. Bathing the king physique. The only temple guard saw that these people had extraordinary auras and did not dare to offend them. He asked carefully. Luo Pokong of the Daluo Heaven sect. The young man in the lead said indifferently. You're Luo Pokong? The guard's expression changed drastically. The Daluo Heaven sect had two kings in the younger generation. There were two heaven's favorites who had mastered the king path laws. One of them was Luo Tsangqiong, and the other was Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong's status in the Daluo Heaven sect was second only to Luo Tsangqiong. Everyone in the ancient Sun Holy Land knew him. Haha, brother Luo, welcome. Please forgive me for not welcoming you. At this time a laugh was heard. Yushu and a few young men stepped on the air and came over. Yushu, there's a kid called Lu Ming. Is he in your one and only holy temple? Luo Pokong asked. That's right, he's at the one and only sacred hall. If brother Luo needs him, one can take you there. Yushu said with a smile. Lead the way. Luo Pokong stepped forward. Please? Yushu led Luo Pokong and the others to Lu Ming's residence. At this moment, in the courtyard where Lu Ming lived, he was chatting with Qiu Yue about the past. Suddenly, his expression changed and he looked out of the courtyard. A group of people stepped on the air and stopped above the courtyard, looking down at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Luo Pokong. Qiu Yue's eyes narrowed. Luo Pokong's eyes swept across Qiu Yue and then landed on Lu Ming. Boy, you're Lu Ming? Not bad. Lu Ming responded. Very good. Do you know that Qiu Yue is my brother Luo Kangqiang's woman? You dare to have any thoughts about her? I think you're tired of living. Saint power surged from Luo Pokong's body, forming a powerful aura that pressed toward Lu Ming. Nonsense. When did I become Luo Kangqiang's woman? You tell him that it's impossible between us. Qiu Yue shouted. This made Luo Pokong squint his eyes, and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. Did you hear that? Qiu Yue denied it herself, but that Luo Tsangqiong keeps sticking to her. Isn't it embarrassing? Don't you have any shame? Lu Ming sneered. Impudent. Who do you think you are? How dare you insult my elder brother? You must be tired of living. Luo Pokong shouted, and his cold killing intent bloomed. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lu Ming replied indifferently. Arrogant. Lil cripple you now. Luo Pokong's gaze was cold. His aura grew stronger and enveloped Lu Ming. He had heard of Lu Ming's combat strength. He could defeat a sovereign with a superior class celestial spiritual body in the Daluo Heaven sect. However, his combat strength was not something that a superior grade heavenly spiritual body could compare to. His own spiritual body was also a superior grade heaven spiritual body, and he had mastered the laws of the king path. His cultivation was at the great saint perfection. With such talent, he was almost invincible in a battle of the same level. Why would he care about Lu Ming? Luo Pokong, if you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Qiu Yue shouted coldly as her two curved blades flew out. The laws of yin and yang revolved around her body. Luo Pokong's eyes narrowed slightly. Qiu Yue's talent was not inferior to his. He was not confident that he could fight her. Lu Ming, it seems like you can only hide behind a woman. Luo Pokong sneered and revealed a mocking expression. You don't need to use such a low-level goading method. However, I really don't need the help of others to deal with you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and appeared in the sky. Come up and fight. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Luo Pokong revealed a trace of joy. His body soared into the sky, and a long spear appeared in his hand. A terrifyingly sharp intent burst out from the long spear. Lu Ming is definitely not Luo Pokong's match. He's dead for sure in this battle. Yushu sneered. Luo Pokong's talent was almost at the top of the younger generation. His spirit body and laws were at the top. No one could defeat him in a battle of RHE same level. Even if Lu Ming mastered the laws of chaos, his cultivation was so far behind. It was impossible for him to be Luo Pokong's match. Although Luo Tsangqiong didn't come, it would be the same if Luo Pokong came. Die, die. Luo Pokong shouted coldly. With a shake of his long spear, a terrifying spear radiance burst out toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body glowed, and more than 100 holy weapons appeared. He held an absolute holy weapon in his hand and slashed. Clang. The combat sword slashed at the spear's gleam and a terrifying vibration was produced. The spear's gleam was shattered by the combat sword, but the combat sword in Lu Ming's hand also shook violently. What a powerful penetrating power. This is the penetrating law. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He felt that there was a penetrating power in the spear light. It was extremely terrifying, as if it could penetrate everything in the world. That was the law of penetration, a type of king path law. It was said to be able to penetrate everything in the world and nothing could block it. It was extremely terrifying. Let's see how many shots you can take. Luo Pokong's long spear trembled and hundreds of spear lights emerged. They made a sharp whistling sound and stabbed toward Lu Ming. Go! With a single thought, more than 100 holy weapons shot out from around him. Each holy weapon was shrouded in the laws of chaos, and they bombarded the spear radiance. Bang! 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 The sound of the violent collision reverberated through the sky. Then Lu Ming's more than 100 saint weapons were all knocked back. However, the saint weapons were shrouded in the laws of chaos, which blocked the opponent's attack. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and charged at Luo Pokong like lightning. Close combat was a better choice to fight with someone who controlled the law of penetration. Lu Ming's figure neared Luo Pokong. He activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and punched out with both fists. Pieces of the prison-suppressing steel's illusionary shadow emerged and pressed toward Luo Pokong. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The long spear in Luo Pokong's hand continued to thrust out. The spear shadows, with a terrifying penetrating power, pierced the prison-suppressing steel's illusionary image. The prison-suppressing steel's shadow was pierced through and exploded in the air. Lu Ming continued to swing his fist and the illusionary image of the prison-suppressing steel kept appearing. The two of them clashed fiercely. The air was boiling and the battle was extremely intense. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of moves. A destructive attack. Luo Pokong seemed to have lost his patience. He let out a long howl and circulated his saint energy to the extreme. He became one with his spear and turned into a terrifying spear radiance, stabbing toward Lu Ming. This was a terrifying sacred art that seemed to be able to pierce through everything. The illusionary shadow of the prison-suppressing steel that Lu Ming had blasted out exploded and was pierced through. Chaos Finger. Lu Ming also cast his remarkable power and pointed his finger. The light of chaos curled around his finger and pressed down on his opponent. Boom. And NBSP, the primal chaos tribulation finger, and the spear light clashed, creating a massive storm that spread in all directions. In the end, the chaotic finger of tribulation crumbled, but the spear radiance of the other party also exploded, revealing Luo Pokong's figure. He retreated rapidly. Kill? Lu Ming shouted and used the divine sword technique. 2 rays of sword light shot out from his eyes and rushed into Luo Pokong's body. Luo Pokong's body trembled slightly. Then Lu Ming's holy weapons charged at Luo Pokong again. Luo Pokong endured the piercing pain in his soul. He waved his long spear and blocked all of Lu Ming's holy weapons. 1848, Chapter 1848, Chapter 1848, Soul Recovery Pill. Chapter 1848, Chapter 1848 Soul Recovery Pill. However, Lu Ming's holy weapon was sent flying back. Under Lu Ming's control, it continued to fly toward Luo Pokong. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the prison destructive divine art and punched continuously with both fists. Lu Ming launched a storm of attacks. For a moment, Luo Pokong was at a disadvantage. How is that possible? Yushu and the others were in disbelief. Lu Ming actually had the upper hand and was beginning to suppress Luo Pokong. How was this possible? Lu Ming's cultivation was clearly only at the Great Sage Accomplished Realm, while Luo Pokong's cultivation was at the Great Sage Accomplished Realm. With Luo Pokong's talent, it was simply unbelievable that he was at a disadvantage when his cultivation was 2 levels higher. Was the Son of God really that powerful? The battle here had long alarmed the only sacred hall. Many people in the sky were watching and were shocked. Luo Pokong let out a long howl. He was extremely furious as he exerted all his strength to the extreme. Unfortunately, although his penetrating law was powerful, it seemed to have met its nemesis. It could not penetrate Lu Ming's chaos law. Seal. At this moment, Lu Ming muttered. Then, dense runes emerged on Luo Pokong's long spear and covered his entire body. The sealed scroll of the 9 scrolls of Array Dao. Just now, Lu Ming had applied the law of Array Dao on each of his holy weapons. As the holy weapons continued to collide with Luo Pokong, the seal scroll was quietly activated. At this time, It exploded and immediately sealed Luo Pokong. Lu Ming was shocked. He exerted all his strength and struggled with all his might. A terrifying penetrating power burst forth, hoping to break the seal. However, Lu Ming would not give him the chance. Kill, die. Lu Ming shouted as he continued to circulate the divine sword technique. At the same time, he cast the chaotic finger of tribulation and pointed. Lu Ming's current mastery of the chaos finger tribulation was close to 60%. Its power was shocking. With one finger, mountains and rivers were shattered. Boom. The finger of tribulation of primal chaos struck Luo Pokong's body, causing him to let out a blood-curdling screech. His body was sent flying and he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. He had been severely injured. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He continued to step forward and charge towards Luo Pokong. How audacious. An old man who had followed Luo Pokong here shouted and struck out a huge palm print at Lu Ming. Emperor-to-be. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He had no choice but to retreat with all his might to avoid the palm print. You're just a supreme saint. How dare you hurt the sovereign of the Daluo Heaven sect? Who gave you the guts? They'll cripple you first. At this moment, another elder spoke coldly. He took a step forward and a huge foot formed in the sky, stomping down on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming felt as if the space around him had frozen. He could not move his body at all. Even a bubble could not break the space and take him away. A martial supreme. The old man was a martial emperor. This was the Daluo Heaven sect. It was extremely overbearing. In the territory of the only temple, a martial emperor powerhouse wanted to attack Lu Ming directly. Just as the foot was about to land on Lu Ming, a wave of energy rippled out like a wave. However, the huge foot dissipated into nothingness under this wave of energy. A figure had appeared in the sky without anyone noticing. We pay our respects to the Grand Elder. The people from the only divine temple all bowed to this person. Master. Qiu Yue also bowed to this person. The person who had suddenly appeared was Qiu Yue's master, Bing Mu. It's too much for a martial supreme like you to fight with the younger generation. Since Luo Pokong has been defeated, you can leave. The ice curtain said indifferently. Senior Ice Screen, young Master Zhangqiong has personally asked for this kid. We must take him away today. The martial sovereign of the Daluo Heaven sect said. Get lost, you're courting death. Bing Mu suddenly shouted as a terrifying aura pressed down on the martial emperor. The martial emperor's expression changed drastically, and he was forced to retreat, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. He looked at the ice curtain in fear. The ice curtain was definitely a terrifying existence. It had lived for countless years and its cultivation was unfathomable. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to go to the Daluo Heaven sect alone. If the great emperor didn't show up, Luo Zhangqiong would have been killed. The man's expression changed. He turned around and said, Young Master Pokong, let's go. Luo Pokong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He stared at Lu Ming coldly and said, Lu Ming, my brother Luo Zhangqiong is exploring an ancient ruin. When he returns, it will be the time of your death. No one can save you. After saying that, he looked at the ice screen. In other words, if Luo Zhangqiong returned and wanted to lull Lu Ming, the ice curtain would not be able to protect him. Luo Kangqiang's grandfather was a great emperor. He was not Luo Kangqiang's brother, so he was not as tough as Luo Zhangqiong. After saying that, Luo Pokong and the people of the Daluo Heaven sect stepped into the air and left. This kid is so lucky. He's still fine even after this. Yushu was filled with hatred. Suddenly he felt someone looking at him. It was the gaze of the ice curtain. I hope there won't be a next time. The ice curtain opened its mouth. Its voice was very calm, but it made Yushu's face turn pale in an instant, and cold sweat flowed down his face. Obviously he had informed the Daluo Heaven sect about Lu Ming and Qiu Yue, and the ice curtain had already known. His body trembled and he didn't dare to say a word. Lu Ming's eyes swept coldly toward Yushu. It was not difficult to guess from the ice curtain's words that Yushu was the one who told them the secret. Otherwise, how would the people of Daluo Heaven sect know that Lu Ming was in the Soul Divine Temple? Lu Ming, Qiu Yue, come with me. The ice screen turned around and left. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue followed closely behind and arrived at the palace where the ice screen was staying. Lu Ming, you and Qiu Yue should leave the ancient sun's sacred land and go to other places. It might help Qiu Yue recover her memory. Ice screen said. Luo Zhangqiong may not be able to kill me, said Lu Ming. He knew the meaning of the ice curtain. It was for him to avoid Luo Zhangqiong. Lu Ming, you may be powerful but don't underestimate the heroes of the world. Luo Zhangqiong is a terrifying person. His spirit body and laws are top-notch, and he has long reached the absolute saint realm. You're not his match now. Luo Zhangqiong relies on the fact that his grandfather is a great emperor and that his grandfather is extremely protective of his own people. That's why this person is lawless. Even if you are in the only sacred temple or the Xinyuan Empire, you won't be safe. It's better to avoid him for the time being. Also, I know of an ancient prescription called the Soul Recovery Pill. It can help with the recovery of memories, but the ingredients required are too rare, especially the 3 main ingredients. I spent a lot of effort and only found one. Take a look. Ice Screen took out a jade tablet and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. This was an ancient medicinal formula that recorded the refining method of the Soul Recovery Pill and the required materials. There were dozens of them. Lu Ming had never heard of 3 of the main materials. I have collected all the supplementary ingredients for the Soul Recovery Pill. I have also collected one of the 3 main ingredients. They are all here. Take them. If you have the chance to collect the other 2 ingredients, you can make the Soul Recovery Pill. There is a high chance that Qiu Yue's memory will be restored. Ice Screen took out another storage ring and passed it to Lu Ming. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming took it and expressed his gratitude to the ice curtain. 1849, Chapter 1849. Chapter 1849, Savage Barren Ancient Realm. Chapter 1849. Chapter 1849 Savage Barren Ancient Realm. Lu Ming took the ice curtain storage ring and pondered. The Dian Elixir Palace had countless prescriptions and sacred elixirs. There were also descriptions of various precious materials and even their origins. Lu Ming thought that perhaps the Dian Elixir Palace had information on the other 2 materials to refine the Soul Recovery Pill. Let's go out for a walk. Ice Curtain waved her hand. Senior, this junior will take his leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists. He planned to return to the Dian Elixir Palace first and take a look. Master, take care. Qiu Yue also bowed to the ice screen and left the one and only divine temple with Lu Ming. Lu Ming returned to the Xinyuan Empire first. When Ouyang Wushuang, Long Qin and Huang Ling saw Lu Ming and Qiu Yue walking together, they were surprised. Especially Huang Ling, who had a complicated look in her eyes. After that, Lu Ming, Long Qin and Huang Ling bade farewell to Ouyang Wushuang. They brought Ouyang Moli along and stepped onto the teleportation formation, leaving the Xinyuan Empire. Not long after, they returned to ancient Moon Holy Land. Lu Ming, the Heavenly Emperor City's Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute will be holding an official meeting in 2 months. Do you want to go? Huang Ling asked. One don't know. We'll see when the time comes. Qiu Yue has lost her memory, so I'll see if one can find the materials to refine the Soul Recovery Pill. If I'm not around, you can go to Heavenly Emperor City first. Lu Ming said. He didn't hide Qiu Yue's matter from Long Chen and Feng Ling. All right. Phoenix Spirit and Long Chen nodded and returned to Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect respectively. Lu Ming brought Qiu Yue and Ouyang Moli back to the Dian Elixir Hall. Junior brother, you're back. Just as he returned to the Dian Elixir Palace, he met Xuanixin. Previously, Lu Ming had left Xuanixin in the Dian Elixir Palace to cultivate with Uncle Kong. Senior sister, are you used to living here? Lu Ming smiled. And it's all right. Xuanixin nodded and looked at Qiu Yue and Ouyang Moli with a curious expression. Let me introduce you. Lu Ming introduced them to each other. What a powerful constitution. At this moment an old voice rang out. Uncle Kong held onto his walking stick and slowly walked out. His eyes, however, landed on Ouyang Moli's body and were filled with shock. Uncle Kong, he's my new disciple, Ouyang Moli. Lu Ming introduced. Good, this is a great opportunity, good. Uncle Kong sighed. Now that Ouyang Moli's bloodline had been awakened, with Uncle Kong's cultivation, he could naturally see that Ouyang Moli was extraordinary. Uncle Kong, 111 leave Moli in the Great Yen Elixir Palace to cultivate in the future. He'll still need you to guide him. Lu Ming said. Alright, don't worry. These old bones of mine are idle anyway. One can still give them some pointers. Uncle Kong revealed a smile. Then Lu Ming brought Qiu Yue and Ouyang Moli around the Dian Elixir Hall. The interior of the Dian Elixir Palace was huge. Other than the main hall, there were many smaller halls, secret chambers, alchemy rooms, and so on. After making a round, Lu Ming arranged rooms for Qiu Yue and the rest and came to a secret chamber. This secret chamber was filled with all kinds of pill recipes, formulas, and records of all kinds of precious sacred medicines and materials collected by the Great Yen Elixir Palace. There were storage rings placed there, and each storage ring contained a large number of jade tokens. Lu Ming looked at them one by one. This amount of work was huge because there were too many jade plates. After half a month, Lu Ming finally found the prescription for the soul recovery pill. There are records. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. As the three main ingredients of the soul recovery pill were very rare, there were relevant information about the three main ingredients recorded on the book. For example, the location and the possibility of having such ingredients. The two main materials that Lu Ming was lacking were the Grand Lunar Treasure Lotus and the Berserker Crystal. There are only two places that might have the Grand Astral Treasure Lotus. One is the Land of 10,000 Demons, and the other is the Land of 10,000 Demons. Lu Ming frowned. These two places weren't in Mount Yuan. They were too far away and were the other two places in the 10 lands of the Yuan continent. The records on this are from countless years ago. Perhaps there's also a Grand Astral Treasure Lotus in Mount Yuan. Lu Ming pondered in his heart and looked at the place where the Berserker Crystal might appear. There were three places where Berserker Crystals could appear. Two of them were not in Mount Yuan and only one was there. Ancient Savage Barren Realm? The Savage Barren Ancient Realm to the north of Mount Yuan? Lu Ming muttered. He decided to make a trip to the Savage Barren Ancient Realm. After that, Lu Ming bade farewell to Uncle Kong and left Ouyang Moli and Xuanningshin to cultivate here. He and Qiu Yue went to the Phoenix Palace and used the teleportation array there to head to the Savage Barren Ancient region. However, the Savage Barren Ancient Realm was only a legendary place. It was impossible to directly teleport there. They were teleported to a sacred place in the north of Mount Yuan, then took a flying shuttle and flew in the direction of the legendary Savage Barren Ancient Realm. After flying for more than half a month, they arrived at a desolate mountain range. The ancient Savage Barren Realm is a place of ancient legends. Is it still there? Lu Ming had some doubts. However, since they were already here, they continued to search. After a few days, an ancient city appeared in front of them. The two of them landed outside the ancient city and saw two large words on the city gate. Barren City. What was the relationship between the Barren City and the ancient Savage Barren Realm? According to the legends, the ancient Savage Barren Realm should be in this area. The two of them decided to settle down in Barren City first and explore. The two of them walked into the city. This ancient city seemed to have experienced a long time, and the aura of the vicissitudes of time was everywhere. There were many people in the city. At a glance, most of them were cultivators with strong auras. There were many Saint Realm martial artists. The two of them found a restaurant and went to the third floor. They ordered some food and wine to see if they could hear any news. What a beautiful woman. Not far from Lu Ming and the rest there was a table of people. One of the young men was looking at Qiu Yue with a burning gaze. She's indeed very beautiful. One wonder which family she's from. However, it's his fortune to have caught the young master's eye in Barren City. He'll call the girl over to have a drink with him. A thin middle-aged man laughed and flattered. All right. The young man nodded, his eyes burning with passion. He had never seen such a beautiful woman in the Barren City. He was tempted. The skinny middle-aged man chuckled and walked towards Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. He walked past Lu Ming and said to Qiu Yue, "Young lady, my young master invites you over for a drink. Come with me." There was a commanding tone in his voice. After he finished speaking, he turned around and walked away. It was as if Qiu Yue would definitely follow him if he said so. However, Qiu Yue just sat there without moving. Chapter 1850. The He Family? Chapter 1850. The He family. The skinny middle-aged man took a few steps and realized that Qiu Yue didn't follow him. He stopped and turned to look at Qiu Yue. His face darkened and he said coldly, "Didn't you hear what I just said?" Qiu Yue did not seem to see the skinny middle-aged man or hear his words. She was drinking by herself and so was Lu Ming. They completely ignored the thin middle-aged man. The skinny middle-aged man's face turned even colder. He said, "You probably don't know my background. Let me tell you, I'm from the He family. My young master is Hementi of the He family, the #1 heaven's favorite in Barren City. Now come with me." When he mentioned the He clan, the skinny middle-aged man had a smug look on his face, as if the He clan was very powerful. "Get lost." However, the only reply he got was a cold voice from Qiu Yue. "How audacious." The skinny middle-aged man shouted, bursting with cold killing intent. This woman actually dared to tell him to get lost after hearing his name. She was simply courting death. In Barren City, who didn't know about the He family? The He family was the most powerful force in Barren City. Hementi was the #1 genius in Barren City, and Hementi's father was the #1 master in Barren City. In Barren City, No one dared to disrespect the HA family. But this woman actually told him to get lost? If you don't want to go over, I'll take you over. The skinny middle-aged man shouted coldly in an overbearing manner. He stepped forward and his skinny hand reached for Qiu Yue's neck. He wanted to drag Qiu Yue to Hamurt. However, before his palm could reach Qiu Yue's neck, his entire body froze. Then, his arm was covered in a layer of ice crystals, completely sealing his arm in ice. Furthermore, the ice crystals quickly spread from his arm to his entire body. The skinny middle-aged man revealed a look of fear and quickly retreated. With a miserable scream, his arm shattered like a piece of ice. My arm. The skinny middle-aged man let out a shrill scream. The restaurant suddenly fell silent. The other people who were eating and drinking looked at Qiu Yue in surprise. Where did such a young expert come from? Hago has the cultivation of an initial bright saint, but one of his arms has been crippled without him knowing. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. This time Hamilton is going to flip out. You won't let them off. That's right. Hamilton is Barren City's #1 prodigy. He has a low-class heavenly spiritual body and has already reached the great circle of the bright saint stage. That woman is in trouble. It's a pity that she lost such a beautiful face. Many people were discussing, but they kept their voices low as if they were afraid that Hamilton would hear them. As expected, the young man Hamilton suddenly stood up. He was full of cold killing intent as he stepped toward Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. It seems that you've never heard of my name? Do you know the consequences of hurting my Ha family? Hamlet said coldly. What bullshit Ha family? It seems that you don't understand human language. One just told you to get lost, didn't you hear me? Lu Ming said calmly. He did not even look at Hamilton and poured himself and Qiu Yue a glass of wine. Upon hearing this, Hamilton's face darkened. At the same time, a terrifying killing intent burst forth from him. He glared at Lu Ming coldly. In the barren city, no one had ever dared to talk to him like this. Even the senior experts of the other forces had to give him face for the sake of his father. Now, a kid who came out of nowhere dared to insult the HA family and him. He wanted to make Lu Ming regret it and kneel on the ground to beg him. The other people in the restaurant also felt their hearts tremble. They all thought that the young man was finished. He actually dared to say such things about Hammerty. His end would be extremely miserable. Brat, 111 make you wish you were dead. A sinister smile appeared on Hamilton's face. He took a step forward and moved like the wind, appearing beside Lu Ming. He swung his palm at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not seem to see it. He picked up a piece of meat with his chopsticks and put it into his mouth. When he saw that Hamilton's palm was about to hit his face, his chopsticks stabbed out like lightning. A shrill scream resounded through the restaurant. It was from Hammerty. One of his palms had been pierced by Lu Ming's chopsticks. Then Lu Ming opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of minced meat. It seemed to have turned into the most terrifying hidden weapon and hit Hamilton's face. The laws and holy power that covered his body were as fragile as tofu. The minced meat penetrated through Hammerty's defense and created tiny bloody holes in his face. Hammert retreated crazily, screeching miserably. His face was covered in blood, which made him look ferocious. The others in the restaurant gasped. They were shocked by Lu Ming's ability. Hammert was Barren City's #1 genius. He had a low-tier heavenly spiritual body and his cultivation had reached the great circle of the Bright Saint stage. In Barren City, among the younger generation, no one could withstand one move from him. However, he was completely helpless in front of Lu Ming and was completely crushed by him. Moreover, he didn't look very old and belonged to the younger generation. Could he be a heaven's favorite from outside Barren City? Die. I want you to die. Hammert shouted crazily. Blowing. Lu Ming shouted coldly and slapped across the air. A palm condensed with holy power slapped Hammerty's face across the air, sending him flying out of the restaurant. In the restaurant, the thin middle-aged man and Hamilton's other lackeys were pale and stunned. Get lost. If there's a next time, kill without mercy. Lu Ming glanced at the skinny middle-aged man and the rest as he spoke coldly. The skinny middle-aged man and the others felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They rushed out of the restaurant in a hurry and escaped. You two, you'd better run. The HA family won't let you off for treating Hammerty like this. At this moment, a white-haired old man walked over and kindly reminded. Senior, how's the strength of this Ha family? Lu Ming cupped his fists and asked. There are 7 most powerful forces in Barren City, and the HA family is the most powerful one. It is said that Hammerty's father has reached the Emperor-to-be realm, and is the most powerful master in Barren City. The old man said. Emperor-to-be realm? Lu Ming muttered, but his expression did not change. With Bubble's current strength and the profoundness of the spacetime law, they might be able to escape from an emperor-to-be. As long as there were no emperor-level powerhouses, Lu Ming was not very worried. Senior, there's something one would like to ask you. Do you know of the ancient savage barren realm? Lu Ming asked. He had come here to search for the savage barren ancient realm, and this was the perfect time to ask. Ancient savage barren realm? In Barren City, the savage barren ancient land is also a legend. It is said that there are endless treasures in there. The major forces in Barren City have been looking for it, but after countless years, no one has found it. The old man explained. No one found it? Lu Ming looked disappointed. The major forces in Barren City had failed to find it after so many years. The hope of finding it was slim. You should leave quickly. Ha Clan is not far from here. I'm afraid the experts of Ha Clan will arrive soon. The old man reminded again. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Chapter 1851. Chapter 1851. Killing Absolute Saints in Succession. Chapter 1851. Chapter 1851. Killing Absolute Saints in Succession. He didn't believe that the HA family would send out an emperor-to-be expert so easily. If an emperor-to-be didn't come, he could easily escape. Seeing that Lu Ming and Qiu Yue had no intention of leaving, the old man sighed and turned to leave. The other people in the restaurant were the same. They were afraid that they would be implicated when the experts of the HA family arrived. After a while, only Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were left in the restaurant. The two of them ate and drank. Boom. Boom. It didn't take long before a terrifying aura came from outside. The entire restaurant was surrounded by the power of laws and completely blocked. Brat, get out here. Outside, Hammerdy's roar could be heard. 2 great saints in the Great Circle, 2 in the initial Absolute Saint realm, and 1 in the late Absolute Saint realm. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. The other party was quite generous. They had sent 3 Absolute Saints all at once. However, Lu Ming did not care about the initial Absolute Saint realm at all. Even if it was the Great Mastery Absolute Saint realm, it could only cause Lu Ming a little trouble. Qiu Yue, how about going out to kill people? Lu Ming smiled faintly. All right. Qiu Yue was even more direct. She stood up and stepped out. Lu Ming touched his nose. Qiu Yue's personality seemed to have changed after she lost her memory. She was not so decisive in the past. When the two of them left the restaurant, they saw that in the sky, Hamilton had sealed off the area with 5 great experts. Little brat, very good, you haven't left. Hamilton looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious expression. He wished he could cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Then he looked at Qiu Yue and said coldly, bitch, 111 make you my slave and play with you every day. When I'm done, I'll give you to my subordinates. Ah. After saying that, Hammerdy laughed crazily. I said before that if there's a next time, I'll kill you without mercy. It seems like you're tired of living. Lu Ming's gaze darkened. You're so full of yourself, I'll cripple you first. A strong middle-aged man stepped out, his iron fist as heavy as a mountain, aiming for Lu Ming. This person had the cultivation of a great saint in the exceptional realm. With a single punch, the heavens and earth rumbled. The force of the punch was extremely terrifying and was about to drown Lu Ming. In the distance, many onlookers were shaking their heads. They all thought that Lu Ming was in grave danger. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish. Lu Ming said coldly and took a step forward. Boom. The heavens and earth rumbled as a 9-headed dragon pounced out. The dragon's roar suppressed the heavens, and the dragon's claws swiped out, crushing the fist force of the opponent. The dragon's body did not stop as it stomped down with its claws. The brawny man screamed as he was torn apart by the 9 dragons and died on the spot. This was the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Lu Ming had not used it for a long time. At his current realm, the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps was not enough. However, it was more than enough to deal with an ordinary great sage in the exceptional realm. The entire place was silent. He killed a great sage in the Great Circle with 1 move. What kind of strength was this? Furthermore, he was so young. This was too terrifying. Hammer was known as the #1 prodigy in Barren City. However, he was nothing compared to Lu Ming. Hamilton himself was stunned. He looked terrified. With Lu Ming's abilities, it was easy for him to kill him previously. But soon after, his heart was filled with even stronger killing intent and jealousy. In the past, he had dominated the Barren City's younger generation and was very proud. He thought that there were not many geniuses in the world who could compare to him. Now, seeing how powerful Lu Ming was, he was deeply envious. Kill him. roared Hammered. Bus. A figure rushed out from behind Hammered. A terrifying aura burst forth, pressing down on Lu Ming like a wild mountain. He was an absolute saint. An absolute saint was astonishingly powerful. They were far from being comparable to a supreme saint. They could kill a supreme saint with a flip of their hand. In the Azure State, an absolute saint was an overlord of a region. There were not many absolute saints in a top power. Light spots lit up on Lu Ming's body, and holy weapons appeared one after another. Kill, die. Lu Ming shouted. The divine sword technique burst out and rushed into the other party's body. The other party's body shook slightly. Lu Ming stepped into the void, holding an absolute holy weapon sword in his hand and slashed. A flash of sword light cut through the void as if it was splitting the heaven and earth. The power was so strong that it made everyone's expression change. The absolute saint's expression changed drastically. He used all his power and shot out beams of divine light at Lu Ming. However, as the battle sword passed by, all the divine light was cut apart. The battle sword did not stop and continued to slash down. With a scream, half of the absolute saint's body was cut off by Lu Ming. The man was terrified and retreated frantically, trying to escape. Can you escape? Lu Ming attacked coldly. The combat sword in his hand shot out like lightning and pierced through the man's head, destroying his soul. The absolute saint had fallen. Hiss hiss hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and felt their scalps tingle. Lu Ming's combat strength was simply terrifying. Even an absolute saint had been killed so easily. Was he still human? Hammered was completely stunned. His eyes were wide open, and he looked at the scene in disbelief as if he was dreaming. Kill? Lu Ming shouted and continued to move forward. He activated the chaotic finger of tribulation and pointed. A giant finger of chaos tribulation pointed at another absolute saint. When Lu Ming was in the Great Sage lower tier, he could defeat an ordinary absolute saint lower tier. Now that he had broken through to the Great Sage upper tier, it was not too difficult to kill an absolute saint lower tier. Not good. Lu Ming had killed an absolute saint in a few moves. The absolute saint didn't dare to take it head-on. He retreated quickly, trying to avoid Lu Ming's attack. However, Qiu Yue's body flashed out, and the laws of yin and yang exploded. Two curved blades flew out, forming a terrifying destructive power that enveloped the absolute saint. The absolute saint didn't even have time to scream before he was reduced to ashes by the power of destruction. Another one had died, and this time it was Qiu Yue. Go, quickly go, run. The only absolute saint in the upper tier roared. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He used his saint power to run away. Come and go as you please, how can it be that easy? Lu Ming said coldly. He turned into a ray of light and chased after Hammered. With Hammered's personality, he would not give up just like that. There would be endless trouble later on, so he might as well kill him directly. Qiu Yue followed closely behind. Many people were dumbfounded as if they were in a dream. In the beginning, Hamilton had been aggressive. He had brought 3 absolute saints with him to kill Lu Ming and take Qiu Yue. But now, 2 of the 3 absolute saints had died, and the remaining one was running away with Hamilton. This result was beyond everyone's expectations. Let's go and take a look. Many people followed closely behind them, wanting to see the final result. Hammered, the lord who had been lawless in Barren City, what would happen today? The absolute saint expert took Hamenti and fled frantically. His speed was amazing, and he flew over the barren city like a beam of light. Damn it, I'll definitely ask my father to kill them. No, I'll make them beg for death. Hamilton roared in his heart. His face was twisted. Chapter 1852, The Emperor, to be appears. Chapter 1852, The Emperor to be appears hammered. Not only did he come from a good family, but his father was also the #1 master in Barren City. He also had amazing talent. He had a low-class heaven spiritual body and the potential to become a sovereign. He was known as the only person with the potential to become a sovereign in Barren City for hundreds of thousands of years. With his status and talent, his path had been smooth. Ever since he was young, he had always been able to get whatever he wanted. This time, not only did Qiu Yue dare to disobey him, but Lu Ming also dared to injure him, insult him, and even kill so many experts from the HA family. He must make Lu Ming regret it. However, the next moment he shouted in fear, "Quick, increase the speed." That was because at that moment, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue's speed suddenly increased greatly. It was as if they were traveling through the void. Their speed was shocking as they approached them at an extreme speed. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue's speed suddenly increased greatly because of bubbles. Bubbles cast a spacetime law that enveloped the two of them. The two of them seemed to be able to travel through the void. Hurry, hurry, we're almost at the HA family's house. Hurry up. Hamlet kept shouting, his body trembling in fear. Young master, you go first. I'll block them. Let's go. The Absolute Saint said and threw Hamilton forward. He stopped in his tracks and a saber appeared in his hand. He slashed dozens of times at Lu Ming and Nangong Wuk. As for Hamlet, he was frantically running forward. This place was not far from the HA family mansion. As long as he could escape to the HA family, his life would be saved. Let's join forces and kill him, Lu Ming said. Chirping, the bubble opened its mouth and spat out a transparent bubble. Then it disappeared. In the next moment, it reappeared on the Absolute Saint's body and enveloped him. Chaos Finger. Lu Ming pointed his finger and a huge finger shot towards the other party. Qiu Yue's two scimitars spun rapidly, turning into a destructive storm that swept toward the other party. There was no suspense. Lu Ming, Bubbles, and Qiu Yue could fight against an ordinary Absolute Saint in the upper tier. They could even defeat and kill their opponent. Now that the three of them had joined forces, their power was even more terrifying. The attacks of the three landed, and the Absolute Saint expert didn't even have time to scream before he was killed. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue rushed past them without stopping. The people who followed from the distance were dumbfounded. The shock in their hearts was unimaginable. An Absolute Saint in the Great Perfection realm was instantly killed. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue's cultivation base was clearly only at the Supreme Saint realm. These people are definitely the Peerless Heaven's favorites from outside Barren City. Interesting. We're almost at the HA family mansion. I wonder what the result is. Many people followed, wanting to find out what was going on. In front of him, Hamilton saw that the Absolute Saint expert had been killed in an instant. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He held his breath and rushed forward. A vast and majestic mansion appeared before his eyes. Hammer was overjoyed. They had arrived at the HA family's mansion. Once they arrived, he would be safe. Next, it would be his crazy revenge. However, behind him, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue had no intention of stopping. They were charging towards him at an alarming speed. Hammer was almost scared to death. He shouted as he charged, "Help, help! Father, help!" At that moment, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were approaching Hammerdy at top speed. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his hand, and an Absolute Saint weapon pierced through the void toward Hamilton. Hammerdy wanted to dodge in fear, but he realized that he could not do so at all. His ability was far inferior to Lu Ming's. Audacious fanatic, you're courting death. At this moment, a loud shout rang out from the HA family mansion. A ray of light shot out and collided with Lu Ming's Absolute Saint weapon, knocking it away. Then a figure flickered out, and a terrifying aura bloomed in all directions. Father. Hammerdy was ecstatic. It was a middle-aged man in a brocade robe. He looked a bit like Hammerdy. He was Hammerdy's father, Ha Zheng, the #1 master of Barren City and an expert of the Emperor-to-be realm. Ha Zheng has appeared. The young man and woman are in danger. The people who were following him all stopped far away. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue also stopped. Father, these two people are extremely audacious. They have killed several elders. Hurry up and kill them. No, leave that woman behind. I want her to suffer a fate worse than death. Hamlet shouted. Seeing Ha Zheng, Hammerdy was relieved. He knew that he was fine now. Next, he would take his revenge. Lu Ming and the rest had actually made him look so miserable. He should be hacked into pieces. He should be killed. Ha Zheng's gaze was very cold as he swept a cold glance at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Let's go. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Qiu Yue. The two of them moved, turning into two shadows and retreating. You want to leave? Ha Zheng shouted and threw a punch. A vast fist force pierced through the void and headed toward Lu Ming and the others. I can't resist it, let's go. Lu Ming was about to ask Bubbles to open the space-time tunnel and leave this place. However, at this moment, a 1,000-meter-long sword radiance appeared and slashed at Ha Zheng's fist radiance. With a loud boom, the sword radiance and the fist radiance disappeared at the same time. Lu Ming was stunned. He did not leave but stopped in the distance. Ha Zheng's gaze looked up into the sky, where a white-haired elder appeared. This person had a long sword on his back and looked like a sage. It's the Mo clan's clan head. Around them, someone exclaimed. The Mo family was one of the 7 most powerful forces in Barren City. The head of the Mo family was an Absolute Saint in the Great Circle. Why did he help Lu Ming and block Ha Zheng's attack? Not only the others, even Lu Ming himself was puzzled. It was his first time in Barren City and he didn't know anyone. Mo Qingshan, you know those two? Ha Jing asked in a deep voice. I don't know him. Mo Qingshan shook his head. I don't know you and you want to stop me? It seems like you are tired of living. A hint of killing intent flashed through Ha Jing's eyes. Ha Jing, what big words you have. At this moment, a deep voice came from another direction, and then a burly middle-aged man appeared. At the same time, other figures also appeared in other directions. Including Mo Qingshan, there were a total of 6 figures. Leaders of the 6 major forces, what's going on? The leaders of the 6 major forces have all arrived. Could it be because of that young man? That's impossible. What's going on? Upon seeing the 6 figures, the scene broke out into a discussion. These 6 people were the leaders of the other 6 forces in Barren City. Each of them was in the great circle of the Absolute Saint Realm. Why were they all here at the same time? Many people were puzzled. What's the matter for the 6 of you to come to my Ha family? Ha Jing's face darkened. Could it be because of those 2? Then he turned to look at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. I've already said that we don't know those 2. We're here to look for you. Mo Qingshan squinted his eyes and said. Chapter 1853. Chapter 1853, Savage Barren Ancient Realms Whereabouts. Chapter 1853. Chapter 1853 Savage Barren Ancient Realms Whereabouts. You're looking for me? What's the matter? Ha Jing asked. I'm looking for you because of the ancient wilderness realm, of course. Mo Qingshan continued. These words caused many people's hearts to tremble. The ancient savage barren realm was only a legend in Barren City. No one had been able to find it for countless years. Could it be that Ha Jing had some clues? Lu Ming was also greatly shocked. Didn't he come here to search for the savage barren ancient realm and the savage crystal? Haha, savage barren ancient realm? I'm afraid you've got the wrong person. How would one know where the savage barren realm is? Ha Jing laughed out loud. Ha Jing, you're still trying to hide it even now. You entered the ancient savage barren realm a few months ago, didn't you? Mo Qingshan's words shocked the rest of the people. Ha Jing had entered the ancient savage barren realm. Was that true? Everyone's eyes were on Ha Jing. Ha Jing's expression was as dark as a piece of charcoal. It seems that there's a traitor in the HA family. Ha Jing said coldly, enunciating each word. But in other words, he admitted it. Many people's eyes flashed with a fiery light. Was there really such a thing as the savage barren ancient land in this world? It was rumored that there were countless treasures in the ancient savage barren realm. Ha Jing, tell me the entrance to the ancient savage barren realm. A tall and sturdy man spoke. This person was the Pang clan's patriarch. He held a thick iron rod in his hand, and as he waved it, it made whooshing sounds. The leaders of the other forces also released their powerful auras and locked onto Ha Jing. You want to threaten me? You guys are still lacking. Ha Jing said. The aura on his body grew stronger and stronger. A river of laws surrounded his body. This was the symbol of an emperor to be. Only when one completely mastered a type of law could a river of laws be formed. Oh really? I'd like to give it a try. The Pang family head's body swelled up, and his aura was like a rainbow. The iron rod in his hand expanded, turning into a giant rod that reached the sky. With the force of Mount Tai, he pressed down on Ha Jing. Ha Jing's expression darkened. The river of laws danced, and his fist radiance shook the sky as he punched out. Boom. The terrifying boom shook the entire barren city. The giant stick was blown away by Ha Jing, but he was also forced to step back, causing the void to tremble. Many people were dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Ha Jing had actually been forced to retreat. That was an emperor-to-be who controlled a complete set of laws. With the river of laws surrounding him, his combat power was astonishing. He could easily crush people in the great circle of the Absolute Saint Realm. However, Ha Jing had actually been forced to retreat by a person in the great circle of the Absolute Saint stage. Haha, Ha Jing, I heard that you were heavily injured after entering the ancient savage barren realm. As expected, with your current battle power, how can you fight against the 6 of us? The Pang family's patriarch laughed. Many people came to a sudden realization. So Ha Jing was injured. No wonder his battle prowess had been greatly reduced. We were going to take action in a few days, but since you've shown up today, we'll take action while we're at it. Ha Jing, one advise you to tell us the entrance to the ancient barbaric realm. Otherwise, the HA family will disappear from Barren City from now on. Another leader of a force said coldly. Ha Jing's expression was extremely dark. There was a traitor in his Ha family and he had great power. Otherwise, he would not have known that he had entered the ancient savage barren realm and had been injured. If he was at his peak, he would not be afraid even if the six forces joined forces. But now, he had not recovered from his injuries and was no match for the combined forces of the six forces. Do you really want to go to the ancient savage barren realm? Let me tell you, the ancient savage barren realm is very dangerous. I was injured before I even went deep. Ajing said. You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is tell me the entrance to the ancient savage barren realm. Emo Qingshan said. Which martial arts powerhouse had not walked through mountains of corpses and seas of blood? Why would they be afraid of danger? Moreover, danger was often accompanied by opportunities. If one could obtain it, they would soar to the sky in one go. It is fine if you want me to tell you the entrance to the ancient wild region. However, you have to promise me one thing. A hint of killing intent flashed through Ha Jing's eyes. What is it? Emo Qingshan asked. Help me kill those two little bastards. Ha Jing's gaze shifted to Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Emo Qingshan, the Pang family's master, and the others also turned to look at Lu Ming. It's just two juniors, easy. Emo Qingshan's eyes glowed with a cold light. A powerful aura spread towards Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He then sent a voice transmission to Qiu Yue and Rao Pao. Swish. At this moment, a ray of sword light bloomed from Emo Qingshan's hand and headed towards Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. People in the great circle of the Absolute Saint realm had profound cultivation and powerful combat strength. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were far from being their match. Retreat. Lu Ming shouted as he and Qiu Yue retreated rapidly. Do you think you can escape from my hands? Behead him. Emo Qingshan shouted coldly as he unsheathed the long sword on his back. It transformed into an endless sword radiance that blotted out the sky and covered the sun as it flew towards Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue had no way of avoiding it. Many people sighed. These two young men with unparalleled talent were going to fall here. Although the two of them were talented, they were no match for an old monster like the head of the Mo family. Endless sword light enveloped them, stabbing Lu Ming and Qiu Yue until they were like a hornet's nest. However, there was no trace of blood-red light. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue's bodies shattered like illusions. In the next moment, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue's figures suddenly appeared beside Himodi. Not good. Stop. Ha Jing's expression changed drastically. He roared and wanted to stop them, but it was too late. Lu Ming clasped Hamilton's neck and held him in his hands. If you make a move, I'll kill him. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard, causing Ha Jing to stop in his tracks. Let him go or you'll die a terrible death. Ha Jing said coldly. He had been too careless. He had never expected that not only did Lu Ming not escape, but he also dared to take down Hammerdy. He was simply too bold. Moreover, Lu Ming and the rest were too strange. They could suddenly appear next to Himodi, catching him off guard. That was the law of time and space. Ha Jing's gaze turned to Bubbles with shock in his eyes. Is that so? Lu Ming exerted force in his palm and flowly energy surged into Hammerdy's body, causing him to let out a shrill scream. Stop! Ha Jing roared. Ha Jing, are you going to kill these two little bastards or not? Emo Qingshan asked with a cold face. He was very upset. Not only did Lu Ming and Qiu Yue escape from his hands, but they had also taken control of Hammerdy. He had lost face. Kill your mother's fart. Ha Jing cursed. How could he kill Hammerdy when he was already in Lu Ming's hands? Was he trying to kill Hammerdy? Mind your words. Emo Qingshan said with a cold face. Kid, let go of Morthy and he'll let you go. Ha Jing glared at Lu Ming. Let him go? If you let us into the ancient savage barren realm, I'll naturally let him go. Lu Ming said and retreated with Hamilton, away from Emo Qingshan, Ha Jing and the rest. Chapter 1854. Entering? Chapter 1854. Entering. Lu Ming held Hammerdy in his hand and made Ha Jing hold back. The leaders of the other forces naturally did not dare to touch Lu Ming and the rest. You want to enter the ancient savage barren realm? Ha Jing asked with a dark expression. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. If he had not heard the news from the ancient wilderness realm, Lu Ming would have asked Bubbles to open a space-time tunnel and leave. Alright, 111 let you in. Let Murthy go now. Ha Jing said, a sharp glint in his eyes. As long as Lu Ming released Hammerdy, he would tear Lu Ming into pieces. Hee, do you think I'm stupid? I'll let him go after I enter the ancient savage barren realm. If I let him go now, 111 be seeking my own death. Lu Ming sneered. The ancient savage barren realm isn't a place you can enter as you wish. The best time is in a month's time. We can't enter now. Ha Zheng said with a dark expression. Then 111 wait for a month. After a month it'll come back to find you. Lu Ming carried Hammerty and retreated with Qiu Yue at high speed, disappearing from the place in the blink of an eye. Ha Zheng did not dare to chase after him. Ha Zheng, then we'll meet again in a month. Mo Qingshan said. Then, his figure disappeared from the place. Following that, the other leaders of the other forces also left. Ha Zheng snorted coldly and returned to the Ha family mansion. The news that Ha Zheng knew about the savage barren realm spread like a whirlwind throughout Barren City, causing a huge uproar. Countless people were looking forward to the arrival of the next month. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue had already left Barren City and arrived at a remote place. They placed Hamilton inside the mountain and river diagram. He and Qiu Yue found a random place and went into closed-door cultivation. They would wait for a month. Cultivation knew no time, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, there was a sea of people outside the Ha family mansion. The Mo clan is here. Someone said. From afar, a group of people flew over. There were hundreds of them. Mo Qingshan took the lead, and behind him were the experts of the Mo family. There were more than 10 absolute saints. Get lost. The Mo clan's tyrannical arrival caused many people to back off, leaving a large area for them. But no one dared to voice their anger. The Mo family was one of the 7 most powerful forces in Barren City. No one could compete with them. After the Mo family, the other 5 forces also arrived one by one. Each force had a large number of experts. Where's Ha Zheng? Mo Qingshan's eyes were fixed on the depths of the Ha clan's mansion, and his voice spread far and wide. Don't worry, one won't leave. From the depths of the Ha family mansion, Ha Zheng stepped out. A month has passed. Ha Zheng, let's go. Mo Qingshan said. There's no hurry, someone hasn't arrived yet. Ha Zheng said. Everyone knew that Ha Zheng was referring to Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Bus. At this moment, figures flashed over from the distance. They were Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Brat, where's my son? Ha Zheng looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming had an idea. Hammer suggested that it should be in Lu Ming's hands, don't worry. They'll let him go once we enter the ancient savage barren realm. Ha Zheng was relieved to see that Hamilton was fine. He said, all right, let's go. Wait a minute. One think that there are too many people here. Some random people don't even have the right to enter the ancient savage barren realm. Mo Qingshan's eyes were like swords as he scanned the surroundings. That's right. The 7 of us will be enough to enter the ancient savage barren realm. All other people get lost. The Pang family head said. What? You want us to leave? You're too overbearing. That's right. In the ancient savage barren realm, anyone who hears of it will have a share. You'll only anger the masses. There are so many of us here, so we don't have to be afraid of you. Instantly the scene became noisy, and many people cried out in dissatisfaction. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, a terrifying sword light bloomed from Mo Qingshan's hand and shot into the crowd. Screams rang out as more than 10 experts were killed by the sword light. The crowd was shocked and retreated frantically, their eyes filled with fear. Whoever follows will end up like this. Mo Qingshan revealed a sinister smile. The powerhouses from the other forces also looked around with unfriendly eyes. The others' expressions were ugly, but they didn't dare to voice their anger. The difference in strength was too great, and talking too much would only lead to death. We can go now. Mo Qingshan's gaze swept towards Ha Zheng. Let's go. Ha Zheng nodded and stepped forward. Ha Zheng, you're the only one from your Ha clan who's going? Mo Qingshan asked. I alone am enough. Ha Zheng had his hands behind his back, looking like a powerful expert. Mo Qingshan and the other masters of the other forces had looks of suspicion in their eyes, but they did not say anything. The powerhouses from the 6 major forces, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue, left Barren City with Ha Zheng. The others didn't dare to follow and could only watch. After flying for an hour, they stopped at a calm lake. The entrance to the ancient savage barren realm is here? Mo Qingshan asked doubtfully. It's just not time yet. One spent thousands of years before one found some clues in an ancient book. Just wait. After Ha Zheng finished speaking, he stood above the lake and closed his eyes to rest. The others could only wait in silence. Soon the sun set and the afterglow shone on the earth. Voila! The calm surface of the lake suddenly became choppy, and all kinds of fish jumped on the surface of the lake. Go to the bottom of the lake. Ha Zheng shouted and rushed to the bottom of the lake. The others quickly followed. As soon as he reached the bottom of the lake, he saw a black vortex. Many people's eyes lit up. Was this the entrance to the savage barren ancient realm? Ha Zheng was the first to rush into the entrance of the ancient wilderness realm, and the others followed suit. Lu Ming followed the crowd and rushed into the entrance. The next moment, Lu Ming realized that he was standing on a large grassland. As far as the eye could see, it was a boundless grassland. It was vast and majestic, giving off a wild and ancient feeling. In the surroundings, Ha Zheng and the powerhouses from the other 6 great factions were present. Above their heads, the vortex hung in the air like a dark moon. Was this the ancient savage barren realm? Many people looked around. "Brat, can you give me my son now?" Ha Zheng looked at Lu Ming. "What's the hurry?" Lu Ming carried Hammerdy and flew away with Qiu Yue. "What are you doing? Why aren't you putting down the Morthi?" Ha Zheng roared, a hint of anxiety flashing in his eyes. "If I let him go now, who knows if he'll kill me?" "Of course he'll let him go when we're far away." Lu Ming's voice was heard and he flew further and further away. "Haha, so this is the savage barren ancient realm? Let's go. Let's go too." The other 6 forces all flew into the distance, as if they were afraid that their treasures would be taken away. It was said that the ancient savage barren realm was full of treasures. They naturally had to make the best use of their time to search for treasures. No one saw the flash of fear and anxiety in Ha Zheng's eyes. Chapter 1855. Chapter 1855, Sudden Change, Arrested? Chapter 1855. Chapter 1855 Sudden Change, Arrested. Lu Ming only threw away Hamilton after flying 100 miles away. He and Qiu Yue flew forward at top speed. At this distance, even if Ha Zheng was about to attack, they could get bubbles to open a spacetime tunnel and escape. Seeing that Lu Ming had let go of Hammerdy, Ha Zheng burst out with a terrifying speed and appeared beside Hammerdy. He grabbed Hammerdy and then retreated rapidly, rushing toward the vortex. Lu Ming naturally saw this scene. No, Ha Zheng seems to be very afraid and wants to leave. Is there danger here? Lu Ming's expression changed at the thought of this. "Let's go back." Lu Ming shouted and pulled Qiu Yue's hand, about to rush toward the vortex. Boom. At this moment, a battle axe appeared in the sky. It was extremely huge and it slashed down at Ha Zheng. "Damn it!" Ha Zheng roared and a river of laws appeared. He punched out and sent the battle axe flying. However, at the same time, a huge hand as large as a mountain surrounded by a river of laws grabbed at Ha Zheng. This was an emperor-to-be, and an emperor-to-be had made a move. Ha Zheng waved his hand, and Saint weapons flew out to block the hand while he charged toward the vortex. As he was already prepared, he was very close to the vortex. With a few flashes, he rushed near the vortex and rushed in, disappearing. At the same time that Ha Zheng was attacked, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were attacked as well. A huge mace was swung at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue with a terrifying aura. Absolute Saint in the Great Circle. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. The attack of this mace was at least equivalent to the attack power of a perfected Absolute Saint. It was not something that they could fight against at the moment. Bubbles waved her small hands and the space-time law enveloped Lu Ming and the rest. Their figures flickered rapidly and they dodged the attack. At the same time, the other forces of the barren city were also attacked. The attackers were all very powerful and shocking. Not good, we've been tricked. Damn it, I've fallen for Ha Zheng's vicious plan. Retreat, quickly retreat. The people of the 6 major forces roared loudly, wanting to retreat toward the vortex. However, a figure appeared in the sky. These figures were extremely burly and were at least 2 meters tall. They were all wearing animal skins, revealing their muscular arms. Some carried battle axes on their backs, while others carried maces, just like the people of the ancient tribes. However, each of them exuded an extremely terrifying aura. They were like giant beasts from the ancient times and were extremely shocking. Lu Ming sensed that most of them were absolute saints. A few of them were surrounded by the river of laws. They were emperor-to-be. Lu Ming's heart sank. He finally knew why Ha Zheng had come in alone without bringing any experts from the HA family. It was obvious that Ha Zheng had known about the situation here, so he immediately rushed toward the vortex after rescuing Hementi. It was too late for Lu Ming, Qiu Yue and the rest to rush to the vortex. "Who are you people? We have no ill intentions." Mo Qingshan's panicked voice rang out. These ancient barbarian-like people were too strong. They were no match for them at all. "Take them down." A deep voice rang out. Those tall figures made their move and terrifying attacks poured towards them. Especially those emperors-to-be, the river of laws condensed into a huge hand. With a grab, a large number of people were captured without any resistance. Boom. In the sky, A huge hand covered the sky and cast a huge shadow as it grabbed at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. This was the attack of an emperor-to-be. Just now, Lu Ming and the others had displayed an amazing movement technique and attracted an emperor-to-be. Bubble, let's go. Lu Ming shouted. Leave it to me, chirp chirp. Bubbles waved her hands and a space-time tunnel was formed, leading directly to the vortex. Lu Ming and the rest rushed into the space-time tunnel and avoided the attack of the large hand. Just as they were about to rush into the space-time tunnel, a tall and burly figure suddenly appeared in front of the vortex. With a grab, the space-time tunnel collapsed and Lu Ming and the others were caught by the huge hand. Lu Ming felt a surge of powerful energy surge towards him, sealing his cultivation. A martial emperor powerhouse. I'm not going to die here, right? Lu Ming was extremely indignant. Immediately, his body went numb and his vision turned black. He fainted. Lu Ming did not know how long had passed before he woke up. Where was this place? Lu Ming looked around and realized that he was in a secret room. The walls of the secret room were made of a black metal and were as smooth as a mirror. Qiu Yue and Bubbles were lying not far away from him. Lu Ming circulated his saint energy and surged it into Qiu Yue and Bubbles' bodies. After a while, Qiu Yue and Bubbles woke up one after another. Brother Lu Ming, where is this place? Chirpy. Pow Pow blinked her large eyes as she sized up her surroundings. I don't know. Lu Ming shook his head. He was thinking rapidly. Who were those people who looked like barbarians? Was this really the wild sacred region? They'll bring you guys out, said Bubbles. She then executed her space-time laws, causing ripples to appear in the void. She wanted to break through space and leave this place, but the surrounding walls suddenly glowed, causing Bubbles to almost crash into them. The bubble could travel through space but it could not break through the walls on all sides. Let me do it. Lu Ming stepped forward and cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art, throwing a punch. Boom. The fist hit the wall, making a violent boom, but the wall did not move at all. It's so hard. Lu Ming was shocked. With his current combat strength, a full-force punch could probably smash a great saint weapon into pieces. However, this wall was completely undamaged. The laws of chaos. Space-time law. At this moment, a cry of surprise could be heard. It was an extremely shocked voice. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice. In the corner of the secret room, there was an extremely burly man. He was dressed in similar clothes to those who had brought them in. Lu Ming had seen this person earlier, but at that time, his attention was on Qiu Yue and Bubbles and he did not pay attention to them. The burly man sized up Lu Ming and Bubbles, still looking surprised. After a while he said, "Guys, don't waste your energy. The walls here are made of wild black gold. They can isolate the saint power and are extremely strong. Unless you have the cultivation of a martial supreme, you can't break them." Wild black gold. Lu Ming muttered. He had never heard of such a metal. It actually required a martial supreme to break it. No wonder it did not move at all when he punched it just now. Senior, where is this place? Why did those people want to capture us? Lu Ming asked. Of course it's the ancient savage barren realm. You've come here on your own, so don't tell me you don't know what this place is? As for the people who captured you, they are naturally the Desolate race from the savage barren ancient region. The burly man explained. Desolate race? You are from the Desolate race? Qiu Yue exclaimed in surprise. Chapter 1856. Desolate Race Cage Battle Arena? Chapter 1856. Desolate Race Cage Battle Arena. Oh? Young lady, have you heard of the Desolate race? The burly man looked at Qiu Yue in surprise. I once read about it in an ancient book that Master left behind. It is said that the Desolate race is an extremely ancient race, but in RHE distant past they had disappeared from the world. I never expected that they would be in the legendary savage barren ancient region. Qiu Yue said. Ah, the young lady is right. The Desolate race has been in seclusion for a very long time. They have been living in seclusion in the ancient savage barren realm. One never expected that you would be able to find your way in. From what one knows, it has been a very long time since any outsiders have entered. The burly man said. The bodies of the Desolate race were all extremely burly, and they were very different from ordinary people. Hence, it was needless to say that the burly man knew that Lu Ming and company had entered from the outside. Senior, where is this place? Lu Ming asked again. The Cage Battle Arena. The burly man said. What's a cage battle arena? Lu Ming frowned. The burly man explained patiently. The Desolate race was hidden in the ancient wilderness realm and outsiders did not know about it. Lu Ming and company had barged in rashly, so they would naturally be captured. And this place was a huge cage battle arena of the Desolate race. The people locked up here had committed grave crimes or were slaves. They had to participate in a death match, fight with other slaves, fight with ferocious beasts, and fight with the Desolate race experts who came here to train. The Desolate race loved to battle, so a death match would attract countless members of RHE Desolate race to watch. Lu Ming understood. They were captured and directly treated as slaves to participate in the death match for the Desolate race to watch. As for the burly man, because of Fang Guo's great crime, he had also become a slave and had to participate in a life and death battle. The death match in the cage battle arena is usually a battle between those of the same level. As long as you win 100 battles in a row, you'll be able to obtain freedom and leave this place. You and that little doll control the laws of chaos and the laws of time and space, so you definitely have a chance of winning 100 battles. The burly man explained. Win 2 matches in a row and you'll be free. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. As long as they could regain their freedom, they would have a chance. Of course, the Desolate race loves to fight, and they respect people with strong combat strength the most. The burly man said. He then looked at the innermost wall and said, when the deathmatch begins, that wall will appear. This is also a chance for us deathmatch fighters to observe other people's combat strength. Next, Lu Ming and the rest chatted with the burly man for a while. It was the first time the burly man had met an outsider, and he was rather enthusiastic. He told them everything he knew, allowing Lu Ming and the rest to have a better understanding of the place. After an unknown amount of time, the inner wall of the secret room suddenly glowed, and then a massive image appeared. It was an enormous cage battle arena that was extremely wide. Surrounding the cage battle arena were rows of spectator stands that were filled with people. All of them were burly Desolate race members. Even the women were more than 2 meters tall. They were burly with the backs of tigers and waists of bears. They were filled with strength. A deafening howl could be heard through the screen. Even sound could be heard from this scene. It was truly amazing. However, the experts in the world of martial Tao controlled the laws of heaven and earth. Laws were the foundation of the world, so no matter how wondrous things were, they could create them. It was not surprising. The cage battle had begun. Brr, brr. A roar sounded out, and an enormous fierce beast walked out of a large door on the side of the cage battle arena. This was a tiger-shaped ferocious beast, but its entire body was covered in pitch-black scales. Its fangs were like swords and it looked extremely ferocious. This is a wild mutant, Lu Ming muttered. These beasts looked very ancient and were rarely seen in the outside world. They could only be found in the ancient wildlands. Meanwhile, a figure walked out of a large door on the other side of the cage battle arena. Mo Qingshan. Lu Ming, Qiu Yue and Bubbles' hearts were moved. The person who walked out was actually Mo Qingshan. This person came in from the outside with you, right? The burly man asked. That's right. This person is very strong. He's in the great circle of the Absolute Saint realm. Aren't you afraid that he'll take the opportunity to escape if you let him out like this? Lu Ming asked. Escape? There are no less than 5 martial sovereigns guarding this cage battle arena, and if he were to escape, only death would await him as he would be instantly killed. The burly man said in disdain. 5 martial sovereigns? Lu Ming drew in a breath of cold air. The strength of the Desolate race was truly extraordinary. It was only a cage battle arena, yet it was actually not inferior to 5 martial emperors overseeing it. It was truly terrifying. Mo Qingshan's expression was extremely ugly. Initially, he had brought the experts of the Mo clan into the savage barren ancient realm in search of treasures. However, he did not expect to be ambushed the moment he entered and be captured to this place. He was also told that he would only be free if he won 100 battles in a row. At this moment, Mo Qingshan's heart sank. This was because the beast he was facing had an extremely terrifying aura. Without a doubt, it was also in the great circle of the Absolute Saint realm, and it was a wild mutant. Its battle power was hard to predict. Brr. The ferocious beast roared and pounced towards Mo Qingshan. Its 4 limbs stomped on the ground, causing the earth to rumble. Kill? Mo Qingshan also let out a roar as he unsheathed his sword. A terrifying sword light cut through the void and slashed towards the ferocious beast. The ferocious beast's roar was like thunder. That roar actually formed a terrifying sound wave that destroyed the sword light. At the same time, it extended its huge claw and shattered the sword light. Mo Qingshan's expression was grave as he soared into the sky. Endless sword light poured down from the sky and slashed at the ferocious beast. However, most of the sword light was destroyed by the ferocious beast. A few sword lights slashed at the body of the ferocious beast and actually produced the sound of metal clashing and sparks flying in all directions. Mo Qingshan's sword light was actually unable to break through the defense of the ferocious beast. It only left a few sword marks on its scales. The ferocious beast broke through the sword light and pounced towards Mo Qingshan. With a swipe of its claw, it sent Mo Qingshan flying. Mo Qingshan continued to retreat, his face a little pale. The ferocious beast revealed a malevolent expression and continued to pounce towards Mo Qingshan. Mo Qingshan was no match for the ferocious beast. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves in a row. Mo Qingshan was completely at a disadvantage. There was one time when his body was almost torn apart. He managed to dodge the attack by a hair's breadth, but he was also seriously injured. This old master won't play with you anymore. Mo Qingshan let out a loud roar as his figure soared into the sky. He actually wanted to break through the sky above the cage battle arena and escape. However, at this moment, a huge palm formed in the sky above the cage battle arena and pressed down on Mo Qingshan. No, Mo Qingshan roared. However, under the giant palm, it was difficult for him to escape and he was sent flying out of the arena. The ferocious beast roared and seized the opportunity to grab Mo Qingshan. It tore Mo Qingshan into pieces with all its might and swallowed him in one gulp. You fled the cage battle arena without thinking. Kill without mercy. Kill. An imposing voice sounded out in the sky above RHE cage battle arena. At this moment, in the other secret rooms, the people from the Imperial City who had entered with Lu Ming and the others naturally saw everything that had happened in the cage battle arena. Their faces were extremely pale. Next, they would have to face the same scene. How was it possible to win Lu battles in a row? He didn't expect that the ancient savage barren realm wasn't a land of treasure but hell. It's ale because of that Ha Zheng. Many people were secretly resentful. They finally understood why Ha Zheng had come in alone without bringing anyone from the HA clan. Chapter 1857. The Desolate Race's Combat Strength? Chapter 1857. The Desolate Race's Combat Strength. Next, the deathmatch continued. The second person to go up was also an outsider. He was the leader of another of the 6 forces in Barren City. He was also an absolute saint in the Great Circle. This time he was facing a Desolate Race member in the perfected Absolute Saint realm. However, the Desolate Race's combat strength was slightly stronger than the beast from before. After a dozen moves, the leader of the faction was killed. After that, almost all the people who went up were outsiders. It seemed like the Desolate Race was very curious about the outsiders, and wanted to see how strong they were. However, more than a dozen people went up in a row, and none of them won a single round. They were all killed. Lu Ming realized that be it the Desolate Race or the ferocious beasts, their combat strength was very high. In a battle of the same level, they could completely suppress RHE martial arts experts from the outside world. The Desolate Race seems to have extremely strong bodies. The laws they use are also related to strength. They have infinite strength. They are indeed a race that loves to fight. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. After that, there were more than a dozen battles. Without exception, there were no winners among the outsiders and they were all killed. The remaining outsiders were in despair. They couldn't even win a single battle, let alone winning 100 in a row. This was completely impossible. At this moment, the light on the wall dimmed. The day's cage battle ended and it continued on the second day. That night, Lu Ming, Bubbles, and Qiu Yue sat cross-legged and cultivated in silence. The three of them had no fear of fighting at the same level, and they believed that they would win 100 battles in a row. The next day the death match continued. The ones who went up were still outsiders, but the outcome was the same as yesterday. Almost all of them were killed. One person wanted to escape, but he was mercilessly killed by the Desolate Race's experts. On the third day, there was finally a Heaven's favorite with profound battle prowess who won a round. For the next 10 days the death match did not stop. Every day the cage battle arena was filled to the brim. It was clear how fanatical the Desolate Race was towards battle. Hundreds of people from Barren City had died in battle. But there were few victors. Even if they won, they would have to participate in the second and third death match the next day. The later the battle, the stronger the battle prowess. Therefore, almost no one could win 10 battles in a row, let alone 100. The outsiders' combat power is actually so weak? They are indeed very weak. My Desolate Race is the true battle race of the world. The outsiders can't even withstand a single blow. During this period of time, waves of such voices sounded out in the surroundings of the cage battle arena. In the past 10 days it was not Lu Ming's turn. Time flew by and another 10 days passed. On the 21st day the group of them came to Lu Ming's secret chamber. "You go out and fight to the death." One of the brawny men pointed at Lu Ming. "Is it finally my turn?" Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a sharp glint. He wanted to see if the Desolate race would really give him his freedom after winning 100 battles. "Brother Lu Ming, you can do it. Brother Lu Ming will definitely win." Bubbles waved her small fists and cheered for Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched Bubbles' small head. "You, be careful." Qiu Yue muttered after some thought. "Don't worry." Lu Ming smiled and then left with the Desolate race. After that, Lu Ming walked along a passageway and entered the cage battle arena. Only when they truly stepped into the cage battle arena did they feel the magnificence of the arena. The surrounding grandstands within a radius of 100 miles were filled with people, and there were at least over 1 million people. The Desolate race's strength has probably exceeded our imagination. Lu Ming looked around and was secretly shocked. It seemed that the Yuan continent was not as simple as it looked. Just like Yuan Mountain on the surface, there were only 9 sacred lands. The powerful forces within the 9 sacred lands were extremely powerful. The forces outside the 9 sacred lands were all ordinary emperor-level forces, and their strength was not very strong. However, no one knew that in this isolated land, there was an ancient race, the Desolate race, living in seclusion. They were so powerful that they probably surpassed many of the powerful factions in the Holy Lands. Lu Ming sized up his surroundings, and the surrounding Desolate race members were also sizing him up. This person is so young. What is his cultivation level? One just reported that it's a duel between great sages. This means that this person has the cultivation of great sages. He's such a young great sage. It seems that he's a heaven's favorite from the outside world. One wonder how strong he is. On the grandstand, the members of the Desolate race were in a heated discussion. With a loud roar, a huge beast rushed out of a door. This ferocious beast had the shape of a tiger. Its entire body was covered with scales. It was exactly the same as the ferocious beast that Mo Qingshan had fought with previously. It was obviously of the same race, but its cultivation was in the Great Sage Great Mastery realm. The beast roared and pounced at Lu Ming the moment it saw him. Lu Ming's palm glowed. Holy power surged and condensed into a long spear. Lu Ming stomped on the ground and the ground trembled, Lai dashed out like a bolt of lightning at an astonishing speed. He approached the beast in an instant and thrust his spear forward. The spear was like a flash of lightning as it pierced towards the beast's head. Blood splattered everywhere, accompanied by the roar of the beast. The beast's head was pierced by Lu Ming and nailed to the ground. The entire place fell silent, then burst into loud cheers. In one move he killed a fierce beast of the same level. His speed was like lightning. What shocking battle strength. He killed a tiger-scale beast of the same level with one move. No wonder he's reached the Great Saint realm at such a young age. He must be a genius from the outside world. Someone from the outside world has finally appeared. At that moment, a Desolate race expert entered the scene and dragged away the corpse of the tiger-scale beast. "Do you choose to continue or rest and fight another day?" A burly man with a battle axe on his back stood in the sky and looked at Lu Ming. "Eight again." Lu Ming answered without hesitation. "All right." The burly man nodded and left. Not long after, a figure stepped out of a large door and walked into the cage battle arena. This person looked to be in his 50s. Lai was wearing a piece of animal skin and his upper body was naked, revealing his strong muscles. This was an expert of the Desolate race, and his cultivation level was also at the Great Sage realm. However, he looked at Lu Ming with a grave expression. As soon as he stepped into the field, a huge mace appeared in his hand and he stared at Lu Ming cautiously. Lu Ming had just killed a tiger-scale beast of the same level with one move. His combat strength was definitely shocking. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward and charged at the man. The saint energy in his hand condensed into a long spear that was 1,000 meters long and he whipped it arr man. The burly man from the Desolate race roared as his muscles bulged. Powerful energy surged into his mace as it came crashing down on Lu Ming. However, as the long spear swept past, the man screamed and his body was sent flying like a cannonball. He flew for thousands of meters before he stopped and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Lu Ming had shown mercy. Otherwise this person would have been dead. "You've lost," Lu Ming said indifferently. He then looked up into the sky and said /Nextel. The crowd burst into an uproar. He had been defeated in one move again. "All right." A voice came from the sky. As the person from before retreated, another Desolate race expert walked out. However, just like before, he was defeated by Lu Ming in one move. Chapter 1858, Chapter 1858, Chapter 1858, Invincible. Chapter 1858, Chapter 1858 Invincible. After that, Lu Ming activated his crushing mode. Everyone who went to battle, be it beasts or Desolate race experts, were all defeated by Lu Ming in one move. To Lu Ming, he felt no pressure at all when he was at the same level. It was not a challenge at all. Within a short period of time, Lu Ming had won 19 matches in a row. He's so strong. This person's combat strength is truly shocking. Feels like he's unfathomable. Not bad. The surrounding Desolate race members did not feel dejected or angry because of the Desolate race expert's defeat. Instead, they became more and more excited. On the grandstand at the highest point, a few powerful Desolate race existences were also nodding their heads. This outsider's combat strength is pretty good. Let Desolate Blade try. One of them said. Not long after, a figure entered the cage battle arena. This person looked very young, about the same age as Lu Ming. He was extremely burly, at least 2'5" or 2'6" meters tall, much taller than Lu Ming. The muscles on his body bulged as if he was filled with infinite power. It's Desolate Blade. Desolate Blade has made his move. Desolate Blade has already won 30 matches in a row. I wonder if he can stop this outsider. Huang Ren has a low-class celestial spiritual body. He might be able to fight. Upon seeing this youth, even more members of the Desolate race became excited, as they looked forward to the next battle. Kid, you're very strong, but your winning streak has come to an end after meeting me. Barren Blade held a huge axe and looked at Lu Ming with a fighting spirit. Make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. He was still holding the long spear that was condensed by holy power. Arrogant, take this. Barren Blade shouted and charged at Lu Ming with his battle axe. He stomped on the ground and charged at Lu Ming like a wild beast. When he was not far from Lu Ming, he rushed into the sky and looked down. The giant axe chopped down at Lu Ming with great force. The aura was shocking. Inferior celestial spiritual body? It's just a law. It's just an ordinary law of strength. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he swept the long spear out. Thump. There was a loud boom. Just like Lu Ming's previous opponent, Desolate Blade was sent flying like a cannonball. He only stopped when he reached the edge of the cage battle arena. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and looked at Lu Ming in shock. He felt that Lu Ming's power was unfathomable and he was completely invincible. Thank you for showing mercy. Barren Blade cupped his fists and left. He had lost and there was no need to fight. Another move. I'm afraid this person also has a heavenly spiritual body, and his level is even higher. One wonder if this person can win 100 consecutive victories. Lu Ming had defeated Desolate Blade in one move. Everyone knew that they had underestimated Lu Ming. Many people were looking forward to seeing if Lu Ming could achieve a 100-win streak. It was not easy to obtain a 100-win streak. Those who could do so were the rare elites of the Desolate race. Fight again. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand, his fighting spirit soaring. His voice spread throughout the entire area. The next person to fight was not as powerful as Barren Blade, so Lu Ming won easily. Lu Ming launched his crazy winning streak mode. Moreover, he only needed one move for each battle. He gave off an unfathomable feeling. No one knew how strong Lu Ming's combat strength was. 30 wins, 40 wins, 50 wins. Very soon, Lu Ming had achieved a 90-win streak. At this moment, an expert descended from the sky and looked at Lu Ming. Kid, what's your name? Lu Ming. Lu Ming answered. Lu Ming, very good. Your combat strength is very strong, and you are worthy of the Desolate race's respect. However, let's end today's battle here. There are only a limited number of great sage, great mastery experts here today. We will need time to arrange them. The next 10 battles will be fought in 2 days. The Desolate race expert said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. The further they went, the stronger the enemies they would face. It was normal for the other party to send stronger great sages. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. He had yet to meet his match in a battle of the same level. After that, Lu Ming returned to the secret chamber. The battle for the day had come to an end. On the second day, it was not Lu Ming's turn to fight but Bubbles. When Bubbles entered the arena, everyone was a little stunned. It was unknown if it was due to a problem with Bubbles' constitution or something else, but she had never grown up. She always looked the same as when she had just transformed, 2 or 3 years old, pink and tender. Lu Ming guessed that it might be because the growth period of the top 10 beasts was longer. A 2 to 3-year-old little girl was truly a sight to behold. However, upon knowing that Bubbles' cultivation base had also reached the Great Sage realm, everyone's lips twitched. A 2 or 3-year-old little girl actually had the cultivation of a Great Sage. No, she doesn't seem to be a human but a demon. Demons? Even if you're a demon, you're still so young after taking on human form. You're not that old, are you? That's true. I wonder what kind of combat strength he has. As the people around them discussed, the battle began. In the next moment, the battle ended. The entire place was silent. Many people did not even see how the battle had ended. Bubbles had only spat out a bubble and her opponent had been sent flying with heavy injuries. I want to continue fighting. Bubbles' tender voice reverberated throughout the entire area. For the rest of the battle, the entire arena could only be described as silent. Bubbles was the same as Lu Ming the day before. She unleashed her crushing mode and was even faster than Lu Ming. No matter who it was, Bubbles only had toot and wave her little hands, and the other party would be sent flying with heavy injuries. Not long after, Bubbles also achieved a 90-win streak. At this point they had to stop and fight another day. As the bubble had only used a very short amount of time, today's battle continued. After that, Qiu Yue appeared. It was already shocking that Qiu Yue had reached the great saint perfection at her age, but the following battle was even more shocking. Sweep, another sweep. Qiu Yue had also won 90 consecutive battles before ending the battle. For the next 2 days, Lu Ming, Bubbles, and Qiu Yue did not participate in the battle. Instead, it was the others' battle. 2 days later, Lu Ming finally welcomed his 91st battle. The Desolate race had prepared for a few days, and the experts they sent out were indeed stronger. However, to Lu Ming, there was no difference in a battle between those of the same level, unless they were the children of God. It was still a sweep. 91 consecutive wins, 92 consecutive wins, 93 consecutive wins. Soon it was 99 consecutive wins. During the 100th battle, the Desolate race finally sent out a heavyweight figure. This person was a young elite of the Desolate race. His spiritual body had reached a high-grade heavenly spiritual body, and his strength was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming realized that the combat strength of the Desolate race, under the same conditions as the spirit body, was much stronger than the elites of the outside world. For example, this elite had a high-tier celestial spiritual body. His laws were not the laws of the king's path. His talent was comparable to the Xinyuan Empire's crown prince, Ouyang Wudao. If the two of them were at the same realm, the Desolate race member would definitely be stronger. However, to Lu Ming he was no different from the other people. He was still easily defeated by Lu Ming. 100 consecutive wins. The crowd cheered. It wasn't easy to achieve 100 consecutive victories. He didn't expect that an outsider would be able to achieve it. Chapter 1859, Chapter 1859. Cross, Level 100, Win Streak. Chapter 1859, Cross Level 100 Win Streak. High up in the cage battle arena, a few Desolate race experts looked at Lu Ming with surprise in their eyes. He's very strong and no one of the same rank can match him. I suggest that we let him cross levels and see his combat strength. He might be of great help to our Desolate race. You mean that matter? How was that possible? Not even the strongest paragons of our Desolate race have been able to complete it, so how can an outsider do it? How would you know if you don't try? Let's report this and see what the patriarchs think. A few Desolate race experts were discussing. After that, a person stepped down from the sky and landed in the arena. Senior, now that I've won 100 matches in a row, can I obtain my freedom? Lu Ming looked at the Desolate race expert. We can't. The Desolate race expert shook his head. Lu Ming's expression changed. Senior, one heard that the Desolate race has a rule. As long as you win 100 matches in a row, you can obtain freedom. Are the Desolate race going back on their word? At the scene, the others were also surprised. Indeed, as long as they won 100 rounds, be it slaves, beasts, or anyone else, they would obtain their freedom. This was a rule passed down through the generations of the Desolate race. Why was the Desolate race expert saying that it was not possible? That rule only applies to the beings of the ancient savage barren realm. You are outsiders, so the conditions are even higher. If you can cross realms and win 100 consecutive victories, you will be free. The Desolate race expert said. Cross level 100 win streak? I agree. Lu Ming clenched his fists and returned to the secret room. 100 win streak? Everyone in the stands was shocked. Then they revealed looks of anticipation. Since ancient times, Not many people had been able to achieve a cross-realm 100-win streak. Those who could achieve it were all Peerless Heaven's favorites who later became peerless powerhouses. Would this outsider be able to complete it? After Lu Ming returned, it was Bubbles and Qiu Yue's turn. Without exception, Bubbles and Qiu Yue also successfully obtained 100 consecutive wins. However, they did not regain their freedom. Instead, they continued to return to the secret chamber. In an ancient castle within the Desolate race, a group of terrifying experts were discussing matters. I didn't expect that there would be 3 terrifying geniuses among the outsiders. One of them has mastered the laws of chaos, one has mastered the laws of space and time, and the last one has a king body and is also very strong. Perhaps I can use the help of these outsiders to complete that matter. I'm afraid that's impossible. In the past generations there have been no lack of king physiques in our clan, but no one has been able to complete it. The other 2 are the children of God, so there might be hope. That little girl is too young. Although the space-time law is wonderful, it's not powerful enough. I'm afraid it won't work either. On the other hand, the young man named Lu Ming has mastered the chaos law. He might have a chance. Well then, let's let that young man cross levels and fight. Let's see what level his combat power has reached before we make a decision. The Desolate race experts were discussing matters, but Lu Ming was completely unaware. At this moment, Lu Ming was a little worried. He and Bubbles should be able to achieve 100 consecutive victories if they were to fight across levels, unless the other party also had a child of heaven. If not, they would have no problem. He was worried about Qiu Yue. Although Qiu Yue's combat strength was very strong, the Desolate race was a race that loved to battle. At the same level of combat strength, they were stronger than outsiders. What if the Desolate race also had a king physique? Qiu Yue would be in danger. Furthermore, Qiu Yue's cultivation was at the great circle of the Supreme Saint realm. She could fight an absolute saint? The difference between an absolute saint and a supreme saint was huge. This was the difference between a large realm and not something that a small realm could compare to. After a long while, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh. There was no point in worrying now. He could only take one step at a time. On the second day, Lu Ming's cross-level battle began. The cage battle arena was even more crowded. An outsider was about to engage in a cross-realm battle, which caused a huge uproar and attracted countless people to watch. Boom, boom, boom. The earth rumbled. Lu Ming's first cross-level battle was against a terrifying beast. It was a 10-meter-tall bear covered in scales. Its cultivation was at the peak of the Supreme Saint realm. However, Lu Ming still only used one move to send the giant bear flying more than 10,000 meters away. His combat strength is indeed amazing. Even if his cultivation is one level higher, he can't even withstand a single blow. He's definitely not Lu Ming's match in the beginning. We'll have to wait and see. Later on, there will be geniuses at the peak of the Great Sage realm. That's when the battle will be intense. Since Lu Ming was able to win 100 consecutive battles at the same level, he naturally had the ability to fight above his level. Ordinary peak Great Saints were no match for Lu Ming. If they wanted to watch, they would have to watch the battle between Lu Ming and the Supreme Saints at the peak of the Great Saint realm. The crushing continued. Following that, Lu Ming continued to crush them with a sweeping momentum. 10 consecutive wins, 20 consecutive wins. Very soon, Lu Ming had achieved 80 consecutive victories. Starting from the 8th consecutive victory, there were a few heaven's favorites. There were those with the heavenly spiritual body, those with powerful divine arts, and even beasts with terrifying bloodlines. However, without any exception, they were all crushed by Lu Ming. 90 consecutive wins, 95 consecutive wins, 99 consecutive wins. It was unstoppable. In the 100th battle of the cross-level battle, the Desolate race sent out a terrifying beast. This beast's physique was terrifyingly strong, but it was still easily defeated by Lu Ming. Cross-level battle, 100 consecutive wins. The scene was in an uproar. A 100-win streak across levels was born. Moreover, it seemed that Lu Ming was very relaxed and did not use much effort. How could he be so strong? The surrounding spectators were extremely shocked. Such experts were rare in the Desolate race's history. It was shocking that there was such a genius among the outsiders. Senior, can I regain my freedom? Lu Ming raised his head and looked at the Desolate race expert in the sky. Sure. The Desolate race expert nodded and then changed the topic. However, I'll give you a choice. Do you accept? What choice? Lu Ming asked. I know that the lady called Qiu Yue and the little girl called Bubbles are your friends. The choice is clear. You can give them this opportunity and they will be free without fighting. However, you must continue to challenge. The Desolate race expert spoke. You want to continue the challenge? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. That's right. You can fight 2 levels above you and fight with a great saint in the Great Circle. If you can fight 2 levels above you and win 100 consecutive victories, you can also regain your freedom. The Desolate race expert said. His words caused an uproar. Crossing 2 levels and obtaining 100 consecutive victories? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. That's right. That's impossible. No one can do it unless those 2 levels higher are all ordinary people. In the history of the Desolate race, no one has ever been able to do it. And this time it's even more impossible. Don't forget that our Desolate race's #1 genius is currently in the Great Circle of the Great Sage Realm. This person probably won't agree, right? It was almost impossible for a Heaven's Pride expert to win 100 consecutive victories if he or she was 2 levels higher. However, to everyone's surprise, Lu Ming nodded his head and his voice spread throughout the entire venue. Alright, I agree. Chapter 1860. Chapter 1860. Desolate race royal body. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. Compared to Qiu Yue, he was more confident of winning. Good, you're bold. Haha, now 111 ask someone to release your 2 friends. The expert from the Desolate race laughed and looked at Lu Ming with a look of admiration. Not long after, Qiu Yue and Bubbles walked out of a door. Take these 2 entry tokens. No one will touch you when you walk around the ancient savage barren realm in the future. 2 tokens appeared in the hands of the Desolate race experts and they flew towards Qiu Yue and Bubbles. Brother Lu Ming, all the best. Hit them, Chirpy. Bubbles waved her small fists and cheered for Lu Ming. She then climbed onto Qiu Yue's shoulder. Qiu Yue took the token and cast a complicated look at Lu Ming before flying to the stands at the side. Lu Ming, are you going to challenge me now or do you need to recover first? The Desolate race expert asked. There's no need to recover. Let's fight now, Lu Ming said. If he wanted to fight, then he should end it quickly and win the 100-game winning streak in one go. Alright, you're confident. Great sage in the Great Circle, who wants to try? The Desolate race experts looked around the grandstand. He'll fight him. A figure stood up from the stands and stepped out, landing in the arena. The aura from his body was that of a perfected supreme saint. This person was very young and was a few heads taller than Lu Ming. 2 giant hammers appeared in his hands which looked like 2 water tanks. Typically, those who entered the cage battle arena's 4th beta were either fierce beasts or slaves. And those who flew down from the stands were Desolate race experts who had come here to train. It's a wasteland. One didn't expect him to be up in the first round. The Desolate land has a superior grade heaven spiritual body. It's one of the top geniuses among the younger generation of our clan. Many people's eyes lit up when they saw this young man. They didn't expect that there would be such an important scene in the first round. Good, then you guys can fight to your heart's content. This old master won't disturb you any longer. The Desolate race expert stepped into the air and left. Come on, show me your true ability and let me see your strength. Huang Di raised his 2 big hammers and smashed them against each other, making a loud sound. His eyes were full of strong fighting intent. Lu Ming's combat strength was rare even in the Desolate race. The Desolate race loved to fight, so they were naturally delighted to see him. Then let's see if you have the ability to do so, Lu Ming said. His body glowed and holy weapons flew out of his acupoints. More than 100 holy weapons were floating around Lu Ming. Sealing a holy weapon in your body. What a wondrous ability. Don't be useless. The Desolate man grinned and took a step forward. He was like a cannonball as he charged towards Lu Ming. The 2 big hammers were smashing towards Lu Ming like a storm. Back then, Tianxue had also used a hammer, but its power could not be compared to the Desolate land. The giant hammer fell and a terrifying howl was heard in the sky. The air was compressed and brought with it a terrifying storm that came crushing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming held an absolute holy weapon in his hand. The holy power in his body whistled and he slashed out. The terrifying wave of air was directly split into 2. Clang, clang. The battle sword and the giant hammer of the Desolate land collided fiercely, creating a violent wind that swept in all directions. Huang Di's body trembled and his burly body was forced to retreat. He only managed to stabilize himself after taking more than 10 steps back. A high-grade heavenly spiritual body. The Desolate race is indeed an ancient race. They really have many geniuses. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It had not been long, but among the Desolate race elites that Lu Ming had encountered, there were already 3 people with superior grade heavenly spiritual bodies. This was extremely shocking. In the outside world, A superior-grade heavenly spiritual body was definitely a top elite, an existence that was only second to a monarch body. Without the king physique who could compete with him. But in the Desolate race they had encountered one after another. However, he didn't know that the Wasteland was even more shocked. He was a top genius of the Desolate race. Among his peers he did not have many opponents. Now, with his cultivation being 2 levels higher, he was actually being forced into a disadvantage by Lu Ming. Amazing again. The barren land raised 2 big hammers and stomped on the ground, crushing toward Lu Ming like a mountain. Bus, bus. Lu Ming's sword was like the wind, slashing out continuously and colliding with the sledgehammer in the wasteland. Sparks flew everywhere as the two of them clashed for more than a dozen times. Every time they clashed, Desolate Land was forced to take a few steps back. After a dozen times, he had already retreated a great distance. His face was pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "I'm done, one admit defeat." Desolate Man picked up his hammer, turned around and ran away, shouting that he admitted defeat. He realized that Lu Ming's strength completely crushed his. There was no need to continue fighting. Even the Desolate Land was defeated. Could it be that this person can really cross 2 levels and win Lu consecutive victories? He can't even defeat a Desolate Land. There aren't many people in the Great Sage Perfection realm who can be his opponent. This level of combat strength is truly shocking. Many people exclaimed. And on the highest grandstand, a few Desolate race experts' eyes lit up. Who else wants to fight? Lu Ming's gaze swept the surroundings. "I'll do it." Lu Ming had just finished speaking when a voice was heard. Then, a burly figure soared into the sky and landed in the arena. He was also a young man, and his body was even more burly than Wasteland's. He stood there like a mountain, giving off a sense of pride. This was an undefeatable belief. Desolate power, it's the Desolate power. Desolate power has already made his move. I thought he was going to stay until the end. Can the number 1 prodigy of the younger generation defeat Lu Ming? Many people even stood up from their seats and shouted excitedly when they saw the young man. The number 1 genius among the Desolate race's younger generation? Lu Ming spoke. He was surrounded by sounds and naturally heard it. "Lu Ming, if you defeat me you don't have to fight anymore. I'll count it as a 100-win streak." Desolate said. Everyone nodded their heads. That was indeed the case. Within the Great Sage Full Circle, Desolate power was an invincible existence. If he was no match for it, then the subsequent battles would be meaningless. There was no need to talk about Lu consecutive wins. Any number of consecutive wins could be achieved. "Good, just what I want," Lu Ming said. He also wanted to see the combat strength of the number 1 genius of the Desolate race. Bang! Desolate took a step forward. It was as if an ancient beast was walking, causing the ground to shake. Bang! Bang! Following that, Desolate Li continued to step forward. With every step the ground would shake. His aura became stronger and stronger. His muscles bulged and he was filled with explosive power. Finally, the Desolate power was not too far away from Lu Ming. It threw a punch at him. He punched with his bare hand, but the vibration that erupted was even more intense than when the Wasteland swung the giant hammer. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He also threw a punch at the Desolate power. Lu Ming is going to fight the Desolate power head-on? In a direct confrontation, no one is a match for Desolate power at the same level. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation is 2 levels lower. He probably doesn't know the power of Desolate power. On the grandstand, many thoughts flashed through the minds of the crowd. Lu Ming's fist and the Desolate power's fist collided fiercely. Chapter 1861. Chapter 1861. The Desolate race's elder Lu Ming and Desolate forces' fists met, a pin against an on, and they collided heavily. Thump. With a muffled boom, a terrible shock wave burst out from the place where the 2 fists collided, rushing in all directions of the stands, instantly crossing a distance of 100 miles. In the sky above the grandstand, some experts made their move and set up layers of defense, blocking the shock wave. Bang. Bang. And NBSP the 2 figures trembled and retreated, stomping on the ground and causing it to rumble. Lu Ming and Desolate power retreated at the same time, shocking the audience. In a head-on confrontation, Lu Ming was not weaker than Desolate power? What a terrifying power. What a powerful force. This is the law of extremity. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. The Desolate energy spiritual body was an upper-class sky spiritual body, and the laws it grasped were the extreme laws of the King Path, which were exactly the same as Long Chen's laws. extreme strength, boundless strength, breaking all techniques with strength. Coupled with his cultivation as a Desolate Power Grand Sage, his power was truly shocking. With one punch he could blow up a mountain and crack the earth. Alright again? Desolate Li saw that Lu Ming was facing him head-on and that he was his equal. Instantly his fighting spirit burned to the extreme. A fanatical fighting spirit burst forth in his eyes as he rushed towards Lu Ming. He kept punching out with both fists like cannonballs towards Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming stomped on the ground and charged forward. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and punched continuously. Lu Ming had never been afraid of anyone in a head-on confrontation. Illusionary pieces of the prison-suppressing steel seemed to appear in Lu Ming's fist. They had the power of millions of June and suppressed the heavens. Their strength was shocking. Bang! Bang! The two of them kept punching each other. It was direct, barbaric, and overbearing. The sky and earth rumbled, causing some people with weaker cultivation to turn pale and almost suffer internal injuries. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves in a row, but there was still no winner. To be honest, Desolate Power was very strong. Every strike was like a bolt of lightning, and its power was terrifying. Not many people could directly confront him like this in a direct confrontation. Lu Ming was only able to resist the Desolate Power in such a way by relying on the prison-suppressing heavenly technique and the power of the chaos laws. Lu Ming, what other tricks do you have? Use them all. Desolate Li roared. Alright, yes, Lu Ming replied. The laws of chaos boiled and he suddenly pointed his finger. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. The terrifying finger force crushed towards Desolate Li. Desolate Li's expression was extremely heavy. He roared as a pair of boxing gloves appeared on his hands. He circulated his nomological laws to the extreme and punched out with all his might. It was as if a star had appeared on his fist as he threw the punch at Lu Ming, clashing with the chaotic finger of tribulation. The scene was shocking. It was as if the finger of a god had pointed at a star in the sky. Then the star exploded and Desolate's body retreated rapidly. It's time to end this battle. Seal. Lu Ming muttered. Following that, dense runes suddenly appeared on Desolate Power's body, trying to seal him. Desolate Li's expression changed. He used all his strength to struggle, but at this moment Lu Ming pointed with his finger again. A huge finger pressed down on Desolate Li, sending him flying thousands of meters away. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Ming had shown mercy. Otherwise, the Desolate Power would not have been as simple as being injured. Aha, amazing, really amazing. Lu Ming, I lost. Desolate Force had lost, but he laughed heartily and did not seem to mind. One just have a few more tricks up my sleeve. I might not be able to defeat you in a head-on collision. You let me win. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. When? Life and death battle, who wants to fight me head-on? But we'll fight again in the future. Next time I'll definitely win. Desolate Li's eyes were filled with battle intent. Alright, let's fight again if there's a chance. Lu Ming smiled. He realized that these Desolate race people were not bad. They were all very straightforward and did not have many schemes. At that moment, the Desolate race expert stepped down from the sky and landed in front of Lu Ming. Since you have crossed 2 levels and defeated Desolate Power, no one in the Great Sage Full Circle is your match. You're free. A token appeared in the Desolate race expert's hand and he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and revealed a look of joy. He was finally free. Now he could search for berserker crystals in the ancient wilderness realm. Lu Ming, the elders of the Desolate race want to see you. At that moment, the Desolate race expert spoke again. The Desolate race's elder wants to see me? Lu Ming was stunned. That's right, I need your help. The Desolate race expert nodded. This sentence was said through a voice transmission, so no one else could hear it. Since Senior has invited me, I will definitely meet you. Lu Ming nodded his head and agreed without hesitation. Alright, come with me. Desolate, you too. The Desolate race experts flew towards the sky above the cage battle arena. Lu Ming, Desolate Li, Qiu Yue and Bubbles, who were in the grandstand, followed them. They flew out of the cage battle arena and headed north. It's so spectacular. It had been a while since he came here. This was the first time Lu Ming left the cage battle arena. He looked around. This was an ancient city. There were all kinds of ancient buildings in the city. They were majestic, tall, and vast. One could not see the end of them. The city was filled with people from the Desolate race, and there was an endless stream of them. Not long after, they arrived at a grand building and entered a large hall. In the hall, there were a few burly, white-haired old men. These old men didn't seem to have any aura at all, and they looked like ordinary old men. Greetings, clan elders. The Desolate race experts and Desolate Li bowed to the few elders. No need to be so polite. The old man in the middle raised his hand slightly and looked at Lu Ming with a look of admiration. You are Lu Ming? I just heard the news that you defeated Desolate power. You are 2 levels above Desolate power. This is the first time I've seen someone with such combat strength in my life. Senior is too kind, Junior was just lucky. Lu Ming said humbly. The few elders chuckled but did not comment. Little fellow, my Desolate race has a matter that we need your help with. The old man in the middle continued. You need my help. However, this junior's strength is too weak. Lu Ming was stunned. He had never expected that the Desolate race elder would look for him to ask for his help. However, he was only at the Great Saint Realm. There were probably a lot of people in the Desolate race who were stronger than him, so what could they possibly need his help with? The old man smiled. Come with me and you'll know. Desolately, you kids, come at me together. With that said, the few elders walked out. Desolate Li and the Desolate race experts followed. Lu Ming hesitated for a moment before following them with Qiu Yue bubbles. Soon they arrived at a secret place. There was a stone wall in front of them. Under the stone wall there were 3 ancient altars. They seemed to have been there for countless years. In front of them, there were 3 ancient bluestone roads that led to the 3 altars, each of which was about 1,000 meters away. Chapter 1862. Chapter 1862. Chapter 1862 Ancient Road. Lu Ming, the thing we need your help with isn't complicated. We just need you to approach an altar from here and activate it. A Desolate race elder said. Approach the altar? Are there any obstacles on this road? Lu Ming asked. The clan elder nodded and said, these 3 altars were left behind by the Desolate race's ancestors. Legend has it that they contain the Desolate race's supreme treasures. They are related to the rise and fall of the Desolate race. Unfortunately, for countless years, no one has been able to approach the altars and activate them to obtain the Desolate race's supreme treasures. Every path is filled with terrifying pressure. The stronger one's cultivation is, the stronger the pressure will be. That's why only heaven's favorites can take this path. The elder explained. So that was the case. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was no wonder the Desolate race wanted his help. The cage battle earlier was probably a test for him. Otherwise, he would have regained his freedom after obtaining 100 victories. Clan elder, I want to try again. Desolately said. Alright, let's go and try. The elder nodded. Desolate Li stepped forward, heading towards the ancient path on the far left. Thump. The moment he stepped onto the ancient limestone road, the heavens and earth seemed to rumble. The Desolate power's step felt as heavy as a mountain. Desolate Li's body trembled slightly. Then he stood up straight and continued to walk forward. Thump. Another explosion sounded out and the ground trembled slightly. Desolate power seemed to be under great pressure. The muscles on his body bulged, and the laws of extreme power covered his entire body. He was like an invincible god of war as he stepped forward. Thump. Boom. Step by step he walked forward. Every step he took would make a loud boom. Very quickly, Desolate took 100 steps forward. However, after 100 steps, his speed began to slow down. It was as if the pressure he was under had become even stronger. However, in Desolate Li's eyes, there was determination and determination. He continued to advance. Not long after, Desolate took 200 steps. His speed slowed down again, but he still continued forward. It seemed like every 100 steps he took, the pressure on Desolate power would increase. He advanced step by step. Every 100 steps, the Desolate power's speed would slow down. After more than an hour, Desolate finally took 500 steps. When he took his 501st step, his body suddenly trembled and his face turned pale. The ancient bluestone road was 1,000 meters long, which meant that it had 1,000 steps. He had only crossed half of the Desolate power threshold. Brr. Desolate Li let out a low roar. His eyes were filled with an unyielding look as he continued to walk forward. He took a step forward and his body trembled again. However, he did not fall. Instead, he continued to move forward. Every step he took was very difficult, as if he was carrying an ancient divine mountain with the weight of millions of June. That's right, there's an improvement. In the history of the Desolate race, the number of people who can take 500 steps can be counted on your fingers. The clan elder nodded. He was satisfied with Desolate's performance. Let's see how many steps this little guy can take in the end. Another elder spoke. After that, no one said anything and continued to watch. The Desolate power steps became slower and slower. Sometimes, it would take dozens of minutes to take a single step. However, everyone had a lot of patience. After 3 whole days, Desolate Li had finally taken 600 steps. That's right. To reach 600, even among the royal physiques in the history of the Desolate race, not many have been able to do so. A clan elder praised. For Desolate power to be able to do this, his future achievements would be extraordinary. After Desolate power took 600 steps, he stopped and stood there as if he was recovering. This stop lasted for an entire day. 1 day later, Desolate let out a furious roar and took another step towards the 601st step. However, when he took this step, his body trembled violently and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was thrown back and flew out of the ancient bluestone road. A clan elder reached out and caught Huang Li. A wave of energy entered Huang Li's body, and his pale face regained some vitality. Lu Ming, as you can see, with Desolate strength, he can only take 600 steps. If you can help our tribe activate the altar, you will be our tribe's great benefactor. As our tribe's honored guest, you will be given the position of an elder from another tribe. Your position will be second only to us Desolate race elders. How about it? An elder spoke. Lu Ming's heart palpitated. If they helped the Desolate race activate the altar, they could obtain the position of an external elder of the Desolate race. Their status would be second only to the Desolate race's elders, and this authority would probably be no trifling matter. And the Desolate race's strength was unfathomable. If he could obtain the help of the Desolate race, he would definitely be an extremely powerful backer. Lu Ming secretly took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Senior, you're being too polite. I'll definitely do my best. Also, I came to the ancient savage barren realm to look for berserker crystals. I wonder if Senior has any news about them? So you're looking for berserker crystals. Although berserker crystals are precious, our tribe still has a lot of them. It's fine to give you a few later. An elder smiled. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He looked at the ancient bluestone road and said, then this junior will go and try. With that, Lu Ming took a step forward, heading towards the ancient path on the left that Desolate force had just taken. Thump. When Lu Ming took a step in, he felt a strong force pressing down on him, making his body extremely heavy. The ground trembled when he took a step. However, although this surge of energy was strong, it did not affect Lu Ming much. Lu Ming strode forward quickly. Thump. Boom. The ground kept shaking. In a few breaths, Lu Ming had crossed 100 steps. What a fast speed. As expected of the Son of Chaos. A Desolate race elder's eyes lit up. This child is stronger than the average child of God. Perhaps there's really hope. The other clan elder revealed a hopeful expression. The altars left behind by their ancestors had been sealed for far too long. For countless years they had tried everything they could to open it, but they had never been able to. Perhaps there was hope now. Their Desolate race, countless years ago, was the most powerful faction in the world. They were at the peak of their strength and experts were as common as clouds. In the end, they fought with other powerful factions, resulting in their defeat and their experts being killed. As such, they could only seclude themselves in the world, hiding in the savage barren ancient region. However, no one had ever activated the treasures left behind by their ancestors. After so many years, the Desolate race had yet to recover to its former glory. The treasures in the 3 altars were their chance, so they naturally cared about it. Thump. When Lu Ming took 100 steps, he did not stop at all. He took the 101st step. When he took this step, Lu Ming felt an even stronger force pressing down on him. However, Lu Ming's muscles only trembled slightly and he resisted this force as he continued to take another step forward. The first 300 steps did not affect Lu Ming much. He moved forward at a constant speed and in just over a minute, he had taken the first 300 steps. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.